Moffett. The news was not what you wanted, but I'm just so very happy that you all truly exemplify. In life, there are biological connections, and the science does indicate where those connections are and where they aren't.
You may think Mr. Brown is an indentured servant, but he's really just a poor husband who was caught having an affair by his wife. Today, he's in court to prove that he isn't the father of 26-year-old Ms. Brown, and the case starts with both parties trying to interrupt Judge Lauren at every point.
Love triangle with him and his wife.
That's a lie, Your
Yes,
Honor.
Your Honor.
1 week ago, you reopened your child support case in which you state Mr. Brown owes you $20,624.08.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown, you and your wife claim you can't be the father.
At least let the judge speak. Anyway, Ms. Brown has always been told that Mr. Brown here is her father, and Mr. Brown and his wife have always denied it. Today's the day we get to know the truth, and there are too many people trying to tell the court the truth. They aren't even letting themselves speak.
Because my husband don't want her.
It's still going on.
She's still
for
after my
26
husband.
years, it's still been going on. These people been denying my daughter for 26 years.
She don't know who her daddy is.
26
Your
years
Honor.
they've been
Hold
denying
on,
my...
ladies. Give me a minute.
Yeah, give us a minute. You'll get all the time in the world you need to speak. Ms. Jackson, who is Ms. Brown's mom, says she met Mr. Brown at a club, and then they got hot for each other. And then one thing led to another, and then they made Miss Brown. Funny thing is that Mr. Brown was dating Mrs. Brown at the time, and this is what happened later that night.
We danced, we partied, and then we went to the apartment.
Is that an apartment?
Not
Yes,
mine.
it was
No, that's a
apartment.
lie. That's
it was
a lie.
apartment, Your Honor.
It wasn't
Whose
my
apartment?
It was their apartment. We was in the back of the room. She came in the door. She said, "Come on out, let me talk to you." She left, and then later on, we were still in the apartment. I didn't know that he was dating her.
This is really all shades of messy. Mrs. Brown admits that she caught Mr. Brown getting all hot with Ms. Jackson, and there we have it. It's a possibility that Mr. Brown is the father. And now this is what happened months later.
After that, this was some months later, when I got to my apartment, I unlocked the door with the key. So at that point, I had sliding walk-in closets. I heard my closet door slide open.
You could hear it.
Yes, ma'am. And I heard somebody grab the bed and went in the closet. I said, oh no. When I got inside, I went right to the closet, opened the door. She standing up there naked.
Mr. Brown, you dirty dog. And he looks like he knows he did all of this too. He isn't even denying it. But if Mr. Brown and Mrs. Brown all know that Mr. Brown slept with Ms. Jackson, why are they denying young Ms. Brown here? They must have a very good reason, right? Let's see.
I told him that I had a miscarriage. He stated to me, Your Honor, said that don't worry about nothing. We would try to have another child. I told the next time, I told him that I was pregnant. I took the test. I told him I was pregnant. We went to the clinic. The doctor had stated to me and him that I was pregnant.
So you went together. Mr. Brown, do you remember going with her to the clinic?
No, Your Honor.
And that's the most unconvincing no you'll ever hear on paternity court. I have absolutely no doubts that if Mrs. Brown weren't here, Mr. Brown would have no problem admitting this. But at least he remembers sleeping with Ms. Jackson without protection. So why does he deny Ms. Brown?
Well, Your Honor, I've seen too many things happen. Like one morning, I thought she was at work. Come find out, she was out with another man.
Well, was she supposed to be committed to you when you were committed to her?
Yes, we was kind of like staying together.
Oh, so at that point, you and Ms. Jackson were living together?
And we was staying together.
Okay.
Sorry, Ms. Brown, but I don't think that's gonna fly today. Mrs. Brown really wants to say her piece, and she could care less. And look at her yap.
He told me he hadn't been home in 2 months, Your Honor.
Just
Honor, we
He was with me.
back and forth.
Your Honor.
okay, and so when he
During the
was
time.
away and with Ms. Brown, were you with anybody else?
No, I was in Albany,
Yeah.
Georgia. I was staying
And
with
during
my
that
mother's
time,
sister.
Your Honor, when
he'll
she-
come to Georgia on Friday, and he'll leave that Friday evening and go and back to Jacksonville to her.
Good. At least now we know what we're dealing with. Mrs. Brown insists that the timeline doesn't add up. She also says that anytime Ms. Jackson is asked for a DNA test, she gets mad. Well, she's here today and she will get those test results. Anyway, Ms. Jackson has more evidence for us.
Was he at the hospital when she was born?
Yes,
No,
so
he wasn't.
Came,
No,
he
he
came
wasn't.
in the hospital, Your Honor.
He
and
wasn't there when
asked
she was
me-
born.
He asked me where she was. The nurse brought her back in the room. He put the robe on her and he fed her. Not only that, Cajun, when she was born.
Wow! And to go from doing that to saying that the child isn't his and not contributing anything to the child's well-being for the last 26 years? Okay, that's insane, even for paternity court.
Did you take her around places with you, Mr. Brown?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor.
Your
She
Honor.
asked your last name?
Yes, Your Honor.
That he
Your
didn't
Honor.
give her.
Yes.
So he said he did not sign her birth
Excuse me,
certificate.
Your
So that's what I want to know.
No, he said I asked my husband over and over again, did you sign the birth certificate? When Timothy
Your
was
Honor, I
born,
don't know.
Phew. So while she was sleeping with Mr. Brown, she was dating another man who married her, but then got his marriage to her annulled because he had another wife in another state. What is going on here? But Miss Brown has real proof that Mr. Brown signed her birth certificate.
that's the birth certificate that's a fake, Your Honor. That is a fraud. Her mama been lying to her, and she's sitting here and believing her.
No.
So wait, on this birth
He
certificate,
named-
it does say Dwight Stanley Brown.
He named
didn't
me
sign
and
that.
he spelled the name.
He was with me during the time
Spelled
that
my
birth
name and
certificate.
named me.
This
Now, I
second
do
birth
not
certificate,
see a signature on this birth
because he
certificate,
did not
though.
sign
Because
it.
I ain't signed.
Wow. This just gets worse and worse and worse. And it's about to get even worse, because Mrs. Brown here has got a chart that she'd like to show all of us.
Okay, the first time it was 1990. I paid money to have a test done for her. She didn't show up. Again, the summer of 90. She said, "Let me keep calling me. That's an insult about DNA testing." Every time we
true,
asked
Your
for
Honor.
something. Same thing in 1992. Okay, then we went to Miss Jackson again. Went up to the lab again to get a DNA testing. I paid my money, okay? My husband didn't pay child support, Your Honor. I did. I took care of her.
That's true.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets on paternity court. You may think, well, it cannot get worse than this. Well, you'd be wrong, because there's one more twist in this case. Here is the evidence Miss Jackson just submitted.
This is a document signed by Dwight Stanley Brown.
Yes.
This is an acknowledgement of paternity.
That's not my husband's signature.
Signed the 24th day of
No, but
September
he did write
1990.
he did write
Yes,
his
Your
name. That is not my husband's signature there.
This is substantially similar to me.
If it's my signature, I wouldn't misspell my own name.
It's D.
Where do you see it's misspelled?
Right up there where the L and the E is.
This is just insane. The suspense is killing. This has to be one of the craziest cases on paternity court ever. Let's get to the end of this case and finally see who really is the father here. Is it Mr. Brown or someone else?
Mr. Brown, you are her father. And you knew that. You knew that. Are you all right, Tanika?
Ms. Woods is a proud fast breeder. Yes, you heard that right. She says fast breeding is a superpower, and she's got it. And this time, she's used her superpowers to get pregnant for Mr. Volmar and insists he is her baby's father. Mr. Volmar says Ms. Woods is a liar, but Ms. Woods says that's a complete lie.
I was going through some issues with my other kid's father, and one night I went to the club and wound up running into Mr. Vermore. He actually walked up to me while I was having a drink, and he whispered in my ear and told me that I looked like something that he could see himself with. So we exchanged numbers. I wound up leaving the club. He called me the following morning and asked me, can I come over to his house?
And that's exactly why we are here in paternity court. Ms. Woods says the condom popped, and she told him that he was in trouble. Here's exactly how she put it.
I told him, I'm a fast breeder. I have 4 other kids. So
A fast breeder.
Yes, I'm a fast
Definitely a
breeder.
fast breeder.
Let's just say fertile.
Yes, I'm fertile. I'm sorry.
Okay.
He told me he was in a relationship for 5 years, and the girl wasn't able to, get pregnant.
So you admit you had a sexual relationship with Ms. Woods?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And guess what, Mr. Volmar? That's enough. Mr. Volmar says he never thought Ms. Woods' child was his. In fact, he says he just told her congratulations when she got pregnant. What a stand-up guy this man is. So why did he even think he isn't the baby's father?
Remember the night that the condom broke? There was a couple of nights the condom broke, and I just said, you know what? If I got it, I already got it. Who needs condoms anymore?
So wait, you're admitting that then you started having unprotected sex with her?
Oh, a lot of it.
Okay, so the point is that you admit that you could be this child's father.
I don't know.
You don't know, but you could be.
I don't know because, I've tried it before. It didn't work. I don't know.
So when you say you tried it before and it didn't work, what do you mean?
I
Just as
tried
well.
to get 3 different women pregnant.
That's kind of what happens when you're with a fast breeder, Mr. Volmar. Try to keep up with the program. It's the big leagues now, and fast breeders do what fast breeders do, which is breed very fast. Now here's what our fast breeder has to say.
Yeah, he wasn't the father because I was staying with a man at the time.
You lived with him. You just
It
can't
does
visit
not
me.
matter. I was at your house every day, so how I had time to have sex with you and have sex with him.
Well, wait a
night,
minute now,
went to
Miss
sleep
Woods.
in the bed with him. I mean, of course you're gonna have sex.
Miss
That's your
Woods,
man.
if you were living with him, you were still in a relationship with him, right?
Right, I was in a relationship
you
with
weren't
my
having-
other kid's father, but I was not having sex with him within that month I conceived.
What a guy! Heat of the moment? Well, now the moment's really hot and you've got to step up to the plate if you're the dad, Mr. Volmar. You ain't got no choice. But Mr. Volmar doesn't accept this because he thinks he was a good side piece.
Hold it, I'm the side piece. I'm a good side piece.
So wait a minute. You had Mr. Volmar
She'll
on the
be on the
side.
phone with her boyfriend. I'll be laying in the bed, rubbing on her booty while she's talking to him. Okay, I was a good side dude. I didn't say anything. He had no problems. Come over whenever you want. We had fun.
Oh, Lord.
Even Judge Lauren is already tired of all of this, and this case is about to get even crazier. Ms. Woods cannot even get a word out without Mr. Volmar interrupting her with some nonsense.
I was staying with him at the time, so I'm stuck having a baby.
Are you?
Yeah, I had the baby.
By who?
By you.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
You told
I'm
old
100% sure.
I don't even know his name. You
Look
told your
at that
boyfriend.
baby. That baby looks just like you. She don't look nothing like me.
She
That baby
looks
don't have
exactly
anything
like
for
you.
me but my toes. That baby look exactly like him.
has your
His
head.
eyes, his nose, his
has
facial
your
structure.
feet.
That baby look just like him.
Jeez, what a man. It doesn't look like Mr. Volmar is taking this seriously at all. He might be a great side piece, but it doesn't look like this fellow will make a good dad at all. That's why Ms. Woods says she didn't want to have a baby with him, but if she really didn't, then why did she sleep with him without protection? Even Judge Lauren asks the same question.
I deal with
But
him. I
no,
didn't go
but
for him.
Miss Woods, you were dealing with him.
Yeah, I
That's
was
why
dealing-
we're here.
Because I was going through something with my other
She
kid's
likes the
father.
ignorance, Your Honor.
I was going through something with my other kid's father at the time. He
You should
made
see
me
what
feel
he looks
good
like.
about myself.
Before meeting Mr. Volmar, Ms. Woods had an okay life, but then she messed it up by getting with this side piece. Why would she even do all that? And she's got a good answer for us. Trust me, you'll love this answer.
It was just so much
I was
going
an upgrade.
on with my other kid's father. Like the fussing and fighting, like I got tired of that.
So let's go cheat on him.
Pretty much.
Good job. Good job.
You sleep with Mr. Volmar, another guy.
No, we had sex. There was no sleeping.
Oh,
Sex. No sleeping.
let's just be respectful in court.
We just love an accountable queen on paternity court, don't we? She ruined her relationship, became a fast breeder for Mr. Volmar, and now is in paternity court. What an extraordinary 24 months period for Ms. Woods here. And Mr. Volmar shows just how crazy he is when this happens.
I called him when I was in labor giving birth to my child.
You
he
called me
blocked
8
off
months
of his
later.
Phone.
8
he
months.
blocked me off of his phone. What you want me to do?
I found out she was pregnant within 2 to 3 months. She was gone.
Blocking a woman who could be carrying your baby. Really? But before we check out the results, Mr. Volmar here has one more joke for us. And that happens when Judge Lauren invites a doctor to examine if he really does have a low sperm count.
The rest of the analysis shows that he also had good motility of sperm, which is also important because the sperm have to swim to the egg in order to fertilize it.
How can they
to
swim? I
conceive.
can't swim.
Well, your sperm can certainly
Volmar,
swim. So
This is him.
You're
Everything
becoming
is
a
joke.
clown, and this is not a circus, this is a courtroom.
I understand.
We're getting the information concerning your body and your potential conceiving this beautiful baby. It's not a joke.
The doctor concludes that it's possible for Mr. Volmar to get a woman pregnant, especially if that woman is a fast breeder. And we all know who the fast breeder in this courtroom is. Let's put an end to this once and for all and find out who's really the father of this baby. Mr. Volmar or someone else?
Mr. Volmar, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you. You the father. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. Exactly. Looking just like him. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Little tried to get a DNA test done on Jasmine Degree, but she and her mother refused to show up 4 separate times. And today, they are both in court claiming that Mr. Little is Jasmine's father and that he should start coughing up child support. Mr. Little says there's no way that is ever happening. And here is what Jasmine has to say about that.
I was about 9 years old. Me and all my siblings was in the living room. We was discussing fathers. And that's when my mom told me who I believe was my biological father, who had been in my life since I was younger, wasn't. And she told me that Mr. Little was.
Really? Mr. Little, you told an 11-year-old that you needed to get a DNA test? That is wild. In fact, he says this is his first time seeing Jasmine, and he had absolutely no idea who she was. And that is why he thought that the best thing to do was to talk about DNA tests with an actual child.
She said, no, you my father.
She said, you are my father.
I don't believe I said that.
You said, my mother told me you're my father. So I was like, listen, I don't know if you is or you're not. We need to tell you, we need to take a test.
Okay, Mr. Tests, so let us go way back to when Miss Degree was conceived. How did all of this even begin? How did Mr. Little get involved with Miss Degree's mom? And come on, what are even the chances that this man is Jasmine's father? Well, Mr. Little has something to say about that.
Pregnant.
I knew she was pregnant. That's what she told my brother, that it wasn't mine. My brother said, is this gonna be my nephew or niece? No, it ain't your brother's. Okay, I'm
Well, if she told you that, then
funny, you don't
why
remember
why you
and I got documents, hold up, I got a little proof right here that we messed around in August.
The evidence here is a recreated calendar that illustrates Mr. Little's point, and his point is that he saw Ms. Degree's mom in November, and she told him she was 3 months pregnant at the time. He then says that he last slept with her in August, which means he could not be the father of her baby's child. That is great logic, too. Jasmine does not agree.
So-called believe, and if my mom said it wasn't yours, why are you searching for me so-called?
Why I'm searching for you?
If I am your child.
Why I'm searching for you?
But you should
hold up.
But you just said that you gonna leave it alone, though, right?
The reason why I'm searching for you, because I got a little evidence right here. If they start taking stuff out my check, I'm calling, I want to take a DNA test because I want to get it stopped.
Wow, Mr. Little is on a roll. He has so many pieces of evidence it is impossible to keep track. His new evidence is that he tried to get a DNA test done, but the Degrees just never showed up to get the test, and that leads to a shouting match.
And they tried to get in contact with her for a DNA test. She never showed up. I paid for 2 tests that they never showed up for. Hold up, did I ask you to come to Jersey?
Let's get some order. You know, when you went on assistance, you were asked to give a name.
Yes, I was.
Did you give only his name, or were there multiple
I gave
people?
Cannon Little names.
There should have been multiple names.
Wow, so there were other men on that beat? Jeez. Mr. Little is still hung up on this and says that Ms. Degree should never have told her daughter that another man was her father. And this again leads to yet another shouting match.
And granted, that's my fault, but see, me being an adult, I can accept that and take that. But you being an adult and claim the fact that you never took care of her.
I ain't taking care of her.
You sitting here, you sounded stupid.
I ain't sound, you sound stupid.
Talking about, oh, I had multiple this and that.
You did.
Truthfully, you ain't even know who I was.
Yeah, cut it out. I think we have seen just about enough. It is time to get to the bottom of this case and find out if Jasmine Degree is actually Mr. Little's daughter. Let's have Judge Lauren read out the DNA test results. Now.
Mr. Little, you are her father.
This my father.
Ms. Quiller has tested 2 other men as potential fathers for her daughter, and both tests have returned negative. She is now saying that Ms. Briggs' dead son is her last hope for paternity for her child. Meanwhile, Ms. Briggs says her deceased son never told her anything about having a child with Ms. Quiller. Here is how Ms. Quiller puts it.
The potential fathers tested and their paternity test came out to be negative. Mrs. Briggs' son would be my last hope of paternity for my daughter.
Can you describe for the court the nature of your relationship with Mr. Jones?
Mr. Jones and I, we were really just friendly. It was one night that I came home from the club, and it just that particular night the alcohol in me was talking. It was a one-time thing. It happened one time, and we socialized.
Miss Briggs says she has known Miss Quiller for a while, and that she is really a good person. So when she heard that she could have had a son by her son, she thought it was all providence. This was such a painful moment for her because of the loss of her son. This is so emotional for Miss Quiller too.
I feel like Nora deserves to know who her father is. I had the opportunity to meet my father when I was 17, and we have each other's number, and we still don't conversate with one another. And I feel like oh my God. I feel like Melissa deserves to know if she has a grandchild or not, and if she has another sibling.
This is just so touching. You can see that Ms. Quiller loves her kid very, very much. Mrs. Briggs also loves her potential grandchild very much. And despite not being told by her son in real life that she might have a grandchild, she still hopes Nora's her grandchild.
And at that point, she told you that her son...
She looked at her and she said, "This is my grandbaby."
And so when you saw this beautiful baby, you said, "This is my grandbaby"?
I just knew that she was my granddaughter. I had been dreaming about her for days. Like, my son was showing me this little girl in my dreams, and I was like, okay, what does this mean? And a few days later, here she is.
This is just so touching. Now let us put an end to this suspense and see if Ms. Briggs is correct. Is this really her grandchild, or were her dreams about this baby being hers just a coincidence? Well, the results may shock you. Hang on to your seats because this might be a wild one.
Pertaining to whether Miss Melissa Briggs is likely the grandmother of 3-year-old Nora Quiller. Miss Briggs, you are not her grandmother.
So sorry.
I'm here today to prove today that I am the father.
And you say it's not his baby, Ms. Walton.
Yes, ma'am. I say that because during my conception day, I was having more sexual intercourse with the other guy than Mr. Muhammad.
This only happened this one night.
One night. It was a one-night stand.
You never saw her again.
Never saw her again.
That's wrong, Your Honor. Seen each other for 2 years, every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays.
Several times I have cheated, and I've been honest with him and told him about times I've cheated, but he's become crazy and like obsessed with making up things, seeing things. There's no way I've done all the things he said. He is the father of my son.
Mr. Dark and Miss Bailey are one strange couple. They've had their fair share of ups and downs. Mr. Dark claims that Miss Bailey is a promiscuous liar who broke his heart by cheating on him. But hold on tight, because Miss Bailey is now accusing Mr. Dark of being the father of her 11-month-old son, Jamir.
Mr. Dark, you say the defendant is a promiscuous liar who broke your heart 4 years ago, stepping out on your then relationship. You admit to having a one-night stand with her 2 years ago, but are furious. Ms. Bailey is now claiming you fathered her 11-month-old son, which you say is impossible. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Dark starts off by telling us about their rocky relationship. They were together for 4 years, living under the same roof, and even had dreams of starting a family. But things took a dark turn when Mr. Dark went out of town for work, no pun intended. While he was away, Miss Bailey's best friend spilled the beans and revealed this.
Ms. Bailey, you say Mr. Dark is a deadbeat who knows full well he is your son Jamir's father. You claim there is no way anyone but Mr. Dark could have fathered your son. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So Mr. Dark admits that he cheated on Miss Bailey too, but he says he only did it because he thought she was cheating on him. Talk about a toxic cycle. These two just couldn't seem to trust each other. And guys, it gets worse.
When I left out of the door to go to the store, her best friend came running out of the door to like, hey, Terrence, wait up for a second. I'm gonna go to the store with you. So, I thought that was kind of strange. Like, why'd you, But anyway, we went on to the store. Well, while we was going to the store, her friend started to tell me a story. She was like, well, I just want to tell you something. She was like, well, the whole time that you was gone.
That's right. Even after their breakup, Mr. Dark and Miss Bailey couldn't resist each other's charms. They kept hooking up every few months, even though they weren't together anymore. Now, I'm no relationship expert, but that doesn't sound like the best way to move on, does it? But hey, love makes us do crazy things, right?
I tried to work it past for about approximately a year or so, but I just couldn't take it. I couldn't deal with it no more.
And so how is it you came back together? Because Jamir is 11 months old, so that something else had to happen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We never stopped. We never stopped dealing with each other along the way. Even though we separated, we still occasionally seen each other every,
Miss Bailey claims that Mr. Dark is baby Jimmy's only possible father, but Mr. Dark isn't convinced. He argues that the timeline just doesn't add up. According to his calculations, he and Miss Bailey weren't intimate until March, and Jamir was born in November. Something's fishy here.
Really intimate was around in March.
Yes.
If Jamir's birth date is November 13, 2016, then that means the conception window would be February 17th to February 24th, 2016.
Right.
And you said you all weren't intimate until March.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
To make matters even more complicated, Mr. Dark has a new girlfriend, Miss Bradley, who is pregnant with his child. This web is getting more tangled by the minute. Miss Bradley even questions the physical resemblance between Mr. Dark and baby Jamir.
Question then is, were you intimate in February during the window of conception we outlined between February 17th to February 24th?
No, ma'am.
No.
Both of you said no. So, Miss Bailey, I must ask you, respectfully, who were you intimate with during that time in February?
No one. I haven't had sex in February.
Mr. Dark then reveals that Miss Bailey has a history of paternity questions with her previous child. She also has a thing for men in relationships. Yup, this girl just can't catch a break when it comes to paternity issues. Let's see if the truth finally comes out here.
What else do you know about the paternity situation?
Well, my due date is November 19th. My conception date is February 24th.
Oh, and we're now 1 year later, but what you're saying is that you have a similar due date as the one that was presented for Jamir, as when Jamir was born.
Yes.
Now, according to Judge Lake, Mr. Dark made a big mistake by signing the birth certificate before confirming paternity. By doing so, he legally acknowledged himself as the father of baby Jamir. And guys, that's a tough pill to swallow if you have doubt.
I'm telling you, that's exactly what she said to me.
Listen, ultimately, it's Jamir's life that's truly at stake in this moment, because your relationship seems to be resolved, but the paternity question has not been resolved.
Right.
What are you hoping for, Miss Bailey?
That he step up
and that he do for my baby. Like, I don't understand.
All right, folks, it's time for the moment of truth. The DNA results are in, and we're about to find out if Mr. Dark is the father of baby Jimmy. Emotions are running high, and the stakes couldn't be higher for baby Jameer.
Mr. Dark, you are the father. You are the father.
I told you that he was yours.
Your word ain't, man.
Okay.
So listen, when I first told you you were the father, Mr. Dark, I saw genuine emotion on your face. Because I felt like in that moment you understood.
If you thought shame and regret automatically follow every cheater, you'd be dead wrong. Mr. Muhammad is determined to prove that he is the biological father of Miss Walton's 2-year-old daughter, Brooklyn. Miss Walton, on the other hand, blatantly confesses to having an affair with another man every single day of the month. There's no telling how this one will go.
Mr. Muhammad, you are here to prove that you are the father of the defendant's 2-year-old daughter, Brooklyn. You claim the only reason she is denying paternity is because she wants to be in a relationship with the other man. Is that correct?
Yes, Sean.
Infidelity is no stranger to this court, but cheating every day of the month takes it to a whole new level. The sheer audacity and commitment to deceit is mind-boggling. One can't help but wonder how Miss Walton managed to juggle multiple affairs on a daily basis. So maybe she can fill us in.
You were secretly cheating on Mr. Muhammad and had sex with the other man almost every day of the month. And there is no way Mr. Muhammad is Brooklyn's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that was enlightening. So according to Miss Walton, her affair was only in response to Mr. Muhammad's affair, a fact which Mr. Muhammad conveniently left out of his testimony. Turns out we have a messy one in our hands, folks. Let's hear Mr. Muhammad's rebuttal.
They have an affair with another woman before he had moved in with me. And during that time, while he was having his affair, I was having my affair also.
Oh, so you all were together but both having affairs?
Yes.
No.
Well, baby, I wouldn't say we were together.
No. I wasn't having no affair. We were together. She told me that this gentleman was her cousin.
Things just got even more outrageous when we learned that Mr. Muhammad believed the other man was Miss Walton's cousin. Adding fuel to the fire, Miss Walton admits to having unprotected sex with both men during the window of conception. This revelation turns the paternity question into a real puzzle. With two potential fathers in the picture, it's a race against time to uncover the truth.
Sneak around with the other guy behind Mr. Muhammad's back.
Well, what happens is we was sneaking off to the hotel and having our, relations there.
And where were you supposed to be? Where did you tell Mr. Muhammad you were?
Work.
I told him I was at work.
All right.
She ain't at work. She ain't at work.
I did work because during my pregnancy I was working 2 jobs, so Mr. Muhammad wouldn't even help me with anything.
She's cheating, Your Honor. While she thinks she at work, she's cheating.
Mr. Muhammad stumbled upon a text message from Miss Walton to the other man, revealing her missed period. He should have probably stopped snooping around at that point because he also found out that Miss Walton and her so-called cousin were having a full relationship behind his back. That was the moment that set the stage for this courtroom showdown.
So you had no idea?
I had no idea about this man. Like I said, she told me in the beginning that was a cousin. I ain't thinking nothing of it. I'm thinking it's a family member.
So can you tell me how you found out about the man at all? Just start from the beginning.
You stop having sex with me. Your Honor, I know when you start having sex with me, it's a problem there.
Mr. Muhammad passionately insists that he is Brooklyn's father. He points to their shared features and emphasizes his commitment to being a responsible parent. On the other hand, Miss Walton maintains her stance, insisting that the other man is the biological father due to the frequency of their encounters during the window of conception.
We want to know about the window of conception.
I know the date. The date was February 21st in my mama's house, in the bathroom. We was in the mood. She was in the mood. She go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom after. That's the date that we have. Brooklyn.
The DNA test results are in. These two have been going back and forth the whole time, but it's finally time to shut up and learn the truth. And guys, the outcome is nothing short of a bombshell. Here's how it went down.
Mr. Muhammad, you are the father.
Yes. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about, baby. I know what I'm talking about. 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 You hear me? I know what I'm talking about.
Right now, you have 2 children together. Let's stop making this a fight. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like we said, this court is no stranger to infidelity. On that note, meet Ms. Lima, who found herself in a sticky situation after having an affair with Mr. Anderson, a married man. Buckle up, folks, because we're about to witness a roller coaster of emotion.
Ms. Lima, you admit to making a huge mistake and hope it doesn't affect your baby Christina. You had an affair with Mr. Anderson, who is married, and believe he's your daughter's father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Anderson claims to love his wife and family, but he made a terrible mistake during a heated argument. Instead of working things out, he decided to cheat on his wife. That's a unique way of dealing with things.
So, Ms. Lima, tell us how you got yourself into this mess.
Yes, Your Honor. It all started from a Facebook message when Mr. Anderson was messaging me on Facebook. So we started being friends online for about 1.5 years. Then out of the blue one day, he called me and said, let's go out for dinner. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing anything, so why not?
Hold on tight, because things are about to get even messier. Mr. Anderson claims that he only cheated with Ms. Lima once, but that was debunked almost immediately. Ms. Lima reveals that she went to Mr. Anderson's house multiple times and even had the audacity to describe the furniture to his wife.
Assertion that this went on, she told your wife she was your girlfriend for a year.
Well,
that's not one night. Was it one night or was it a year?
Well, it was one night. I haven't heard from her in months. And then she come telling me that, she's pregnant, she having a baby, and she says mine, she wanted to be my baby and all that type of stuff. I told her.
So apparently there's yet another man in the picture, Mr. Scott. He claims to have been involved with Ms. Lima at the same time she was seeing Mr. Anderson. It's a love triangle, guys. Or is it a love square? And things only got more interesting from there.
Well, if she's looking for a cash out, you gave her the directions because you led her right to your treasure. And that's your family. You did.
Yeah.
So you become pregnant.
Yes.
What a bombshell. Mr. Scott reveals that Ms. Lima told him about Mr. Anderson and the possibility that he could be the father of her child. As the court proceedings continue, tensions rise between Mr. Anderson and his devastated wife.
Very difficult testimony. I know that was hard for you to hear.
Yes, it was, Your Honor.
Has the testimony you heard today been different from the understanding you've had?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please explain.
Once we messaged each other, I asked her for her phone number because I want to talk on the phone. You understand? And when she was telling me the things that she was telling me.
The jury is still out on this couple's future, but the DNA test results are in. The courtroom is buzzing with anticipation as Judge Lake receives the envelope. It's time for the moment of truth. Will it be Mr. Anderson, Mr. Scott, or someone else entirely?
Mr. Scott, you are not her father. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not her father.
Oh my God. There can't be.
Oh my God.
Mr. McCormick thought he found the perfect woman until he discovered she was a serial cheater on a rampage. Ms. Ball, the woman in question, admits to her past infidelities but is positive that Mr. McCormick is the father of her son.
Mr. McCormick, you say you thought you found the perfect woman until you discovered the love of your life with just a serial cheater on a rampage. You say Ms. Ball is a shameless adulteress and there is no way you are her son Gavin's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, our story begins at a party where Mr. McCormick and Ms. Ball first laid eyes on each other. It was love at first sight, or so they thought. They started dating, and everything seemed perfect. They played sports together, bonded with each other's families, and even Mr. McCormick's daughter liked Ms. Ball. But it all went down the drain when he found out that Ms. Ball had a secret life as a serial cheater.
And you intend to prove paternity today, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. McCormick, what do you mean she's a serial cheater?
Well, Your Honor, I found text messages. I've seen her getting in strange vehicles.
That's not true.
I've seen videos. What haven't I found? There's no way that I could be this child's father. I'm starting to become numb to all this. It's getting old.
Mr. McCormick started noticing some strange behavior from Ms. Ball. She would get into strange vehicles, receive suspicious text messages, and even send some scandalous pictures. Red flags were flying everywhere, but Ms. Ball had an excuse for everything.
The nature of your relationship, how did it begin?
We saw each other at a party, and when I first saw him, I was physically attracted to him. And so I started talking to him. I asked him if he wanted to hang out, and I said, where can we hang out? And he said, you can go to my house with me. And we've been together ever since.
Check out the evidence Mr. McCormick brought to the court. He had it all. He had pictures of Ms. Ball getting into strange trucks, videos of her engaging in questionable conversations, and even some scandalous text messages. This man was on a mission to catch a serial cheater. And as you can see, he wasn't holding back.
And you believe she was cheating?
She was I mean, what else would you be doing? Why else would she lie about it? And she was acting fishy before she took off. That's the reason I'd followed her.
All right. And then what is next on this exhibit?
Well, and I saw her getting to another truck. I guess she just likes trucks.
I like trucks.
She's a trucker.
She says she likes trucks.
I guess she does.
Ms. Ball actually admitted to cheating, not once, but multiple times. She came clean about her past infidelities, but she insisted that Mr. McCormick was the father of her son. She even brought up the dates and the doctor's estimation to prove her point.
Something shady was going on.
He heard a butt down. You know, it goes.
She's a beast.
That's me having sex. Yes, he's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I heard a girl
Y'all
say,
know
"You can
when you
have
butt
him,
down
girl."
someone.
When the call connected, what did you hear or see?
I heard another female say, "You can have him now, girl." And she denied that. She said that it wasn't her voice.
Oh, so you think they're having a threesome?
A threesome.
The tension in the courtroom is palpable as Mr. McCormick expresses his doubts. He loves Gavin, the little boy he's been raising since birth, but he can't shake off the feeling that he might not be the biological father. It's heartbreaking.
They added up the dates. When the doctor added up the dates came to June 20th. I had not messed around since May, and I mean honestly, I'm over June 20th. I hadn't messed around since like May 2nd, and we moved in together. And
now she's a mathematician.
Gavin, the adorable little boy caught in the middle of this mess, deserves to know the truth and to have a stable and loving family. His parents obviously have their faults, but he is innocent in all of this. The stakes are high, and the truth needs to come out. It's time for the DNA results.
Mr. McCormick.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are the father.
Well, I'm glad, Your Honor. I'm glad.
Well,
now we can move forward.
Stop the accusations. Let's move forward and raise this little boy. I've made mistakes, I've grown from them, and I'm not gonna create the same mess that I just got done cleaning up. I'm ready to focus completely on him.
So we've already met a bunch of them, but guys, there's no shortage of cheaters in the world. Which brings us to Ms. Thompson, who is summoning a married man, Mr. McKinley, to prove that he is the father of her 6-month-old son. Legend. This is about to be, excuse the pun, legendary.
Ms. Thompson, you are summoning Mr. McKinley to court to prove to him and his wife that he fathered your 6-month-old son, Legend. You say his wife is petty, and she is the cause of his paternity denial. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Thompson starts off by telling the court how she ended up in a relationship with a married man. She explains that she and Mr. McKinley were just friends with benefits, but things took a turn when he started liking and commenting on her Facebook pictures.
I ended up in a relationship with Terrell, and I wouldn't consider it a relationship. I would consider it friends with benefits. I was on Facebook, and he was always liking my pictures. He was commenting on my pictures. He was always trying to get attention, to be noticed. One day, excuse me, I'll let you talk. One day, anyway, one day, I finally gave him a chance because he was real thirsty.
Mr. McKinley, on the other hand, denies everything. He claims that Ms. Thompson is just a side chick and that she knew he was married. The tension in the courtroom is boiling over as Ms. Thompson and Mrs. McKinley exchange heated words. It's clear that there's no love lost between these two.
There you go. From my knowledge, I post a picture of me leaving the studio. Miss Thompson got in my DM, "When you gonna bring me to the studio?" I said, "Well, I don't know. Do you rap?" She like, "Yeah, she
can't
rap."
even rap.
I said, "Well, okay.
He can barely talk.
I live there and bring you today."
You know what?
So look, lay it on
No,
that
I
day.
don't.
Ms. Thompson claims that Mr. McKinley took her to meet his entire family in New Orleans. Wait, what? This just got even messier. She even went swimming with them, but Mr. McKinley has a different story to tell. He says that he only took her to New Orleans because she was homeless and needed somewhere to go.
In the bed, under the cover.
Whose house was this?
I took the cover off her head, and I'm like asking him, "What's going on?" He's like, "Well, we doing music. Sit down." I was like, "No, I won't sit down."
You doing music in the bed under the cover?
I had my phone. Your Honor.
He was doing music. He wasn't having sex.
You asked me, and that's how I found out. I had an idea it was her.
The tension in the courtroom reaches its peak as Ms. Thompson confronts Mr. McKinley about their sexual encounters. She admits that she wasn't always sober and that she made a mistake. Oh, the plot thickens. But will Mr. McKinley finally admit that he is the father?
Got this about 3 months ago.
Yeah, come on.
Through a text telling my husband, "Oh, this legend dad
That's
right here."
legend dad there.
This evidence,
yes, ma'am,
is a picture you said you saw.
Your Honor.
Where?
She sent it
She sent it to me.
Terrell's phone.
She
It's still
sent it
in
to
his
me.
phone.
Man.
As a matter of fact, it's still in her phone.
Yeah,
in his
man.
phone.
So you got a text, and it was this picture, and the caption was
Saying Legend's
Legend's
real
real father.
Yes,
Goodbye.
yeah, goodbye.
It's time for the moment of truth, folks. The DNA results are in, and Judge Lake is about to reveal the truth. Will Mr. McKinley step up and be the father he needs to be? Or will Ms. Thompson have to continue her search for Legend's biological father?
Mr. McKinley, you are the father.
And he's a handsome baby. He get compliments all the time, so.
He is beautiful. In the spirit of that beauty and that innocence, let's go forward better than we have before.
I don't want drama. I never did want drama. It's just hurt me when I ask for something and they don't do it.
She believes her own lies, okay? They come true in her head. I don't know
and
why
once
she do
again,
that,
I
okay?
guess you're there with me while I'm sleeping with these men.
course.
We having a wang dang, ain't it?
Yep, child. I be right there.
We threesoming now. Maybe even a foursome since he's so sure.
I hope you guys are ready because this is a case like no other. Ms. Kingsbury was present in court to prove to the defendant, Mr. James, that he is the biological father of her child. Mr. James, on the other hand, claimed he could prove that the child was not his and why he was not going to accept the baby. The case began like this.
Miss Kingsbury, you say you were in a romantic relationship with the defendant, Mr. James, and planned to have a child together, but when your 11-month-old son, Chance, was born, Mr. James turned on you and began to deny paternity. You are here to prove Mr. James is the biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. James, you say you had stopped all intimate relations with Miss Kingsbury during the window of conception. You say you can prove this is not your child with undeniable medical evidence. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Like I said, she wasn't happy that he was denying both her and the child. Now, Mr. James told the judge that they initially agreed to have a child, but their relationship, which began as a friendship, took an unexpected turn when they decided to have a child together.
You were a couple
with him.
in love, or you just staying with him, or you living
We were
with him?
in love with each other.
You were?
Yes, we were.
No.
What is your opinion of the relationship?
My opinion, Your Honor, is at first, yes, we did plan to have a baby. At first, relationship, it was fun, adventurous. I think I could count on her. She was supportive. That was the nature of relationship at first.
So what are you trying to say, that we weren't in a relationship? We didn't have love for each other?
Are you trying to say that, Mr. James?
I ain't say we don't have love for each other. I said I wasn't in love.
That sounds like a lie right there. There's something fishy about the story Mr. James is trying to sell to the judge. Moving on, Ms. Kingsbury went on to make a revelation, saying there was a time in her relationship when she lied to Mr. James and things started to change.
Tell him who took me. I lied about, I told him that it was my sister who took me, but it was a customer of mine. I asked him if he can give me a ride to work. I did what I had to do to get to work. I didn't have a way. I had to take my daughter all the way to the other side of town to her godmother, and I had to get to work. I paid the young man gas money. And another thing, when I was going to get my nails done, the young man was on his way to my house to get his money. Me, Kenneth, and my daughter was walking to the nail salon to get my nails done, and the young man gave us all a ride. So if he felt any way towards me and this young man, he wouldn't have got in the car with us. He was there when I gave the young man his $10.
Let's just say Mr. James isn't so much of a forgiving man. Now he went on to tell the judge that after she lied to him about the work ride, he started to hear rumors claiming that Ms. Kingsbury had entered not just one ride, but several rides when he was not around.
Hearing rumors about her with other guys?
Yes, I heard rumors. My friends that stay in the neighborhood, they used to tell me that she used to get out cars with her, wherever men these are, I don't know, her co-workers or like what she just explained,
That's
her
hearsay.
customers.
He say, she say.
No.
He ain't never witnessed me get out of no car with nobody.
I ain't
Now
got
the
no
time
witness.
that we were together, the time that we were together, me and him spent all of our time together. You ain't never seen me get out of no car with no man. And the only friend that I have that is a man is my daughter's godfather.
At least she admitted to lying and told him about it. What more does he want? Or could there be more lies? Anyway, Mr. James went on to explain to the judge that he felt that due to the lie, he could no longer trust Ms. Kingsbury, and there was a high chance she was cheating on him.
That's not the kind of ride to get you pregnant.
No.
Thank
you. Of course.
Right?
I got a ride home from work.
So now I have to understand your doubt specifically. What does this have to do with the paternity?
Mistrust can lead to somebody cheating, and also if you lie, that can also lead to different session or whatever, different sequence of your life that you can do those type of things.
So now, Ms. Kingsbury, he's saying that now you've started a pattern of lying. Is that true?
No, I told him one lie.
Okay.
I'm asleep. I'll call you back. I can't believe he said that to his pregnant girlfriend. This is where the situation gets very intense. Apparently, after Ms. Kingsbury told Mr. James that she was pregnant, she discovered that he had gotten someone else pregnant. This was what he had to say when the judge asked him.
At the time Ms. Kingsbury was pregnant, you had someone else pregnant as well?
Well, yeah, you can say that.
So you wasn't sleeping too much.
I was sleeping.
No,
I still was sleeping. But I wasn't talking to her at that time either, though.
Yes, he was. He moved on after Thanksgiving when he was driving down the street in his car and yelled out the window, "That's why I got someone else pregnant."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
All right, so how does it get to the point where you riding down the street, yelling out?
I stayed at his house the night before, and that morning when we got up, he was arguing with me about diabetes. I'm a diabetic.
Damn! Mr. James needs some ass whopping for saying that. When the baby was born, even after saying he got someone else pregnant, Mr. James was present at the hospital and even went on to sign the birth certificate.
Were you at the hospital? Did you participate in the birth?
Yes.
You did?
Yes, I was right there when he was born.
He was.
But not her C-section, but when he was there, I was holding him. I seen him pee-pee.
He signed the birth certificate. He signed the birth certificate and everything. He did.
Because I thought
My
that's
son
the right
has his
thing
last
to do.
name.
Even though I had my doubts, as a person, I believe in God, whatever like that. I believe as a man,
the doubt is
responsibility.
At what point do you really have real doubt that this child is yours?
I think when he was like 2 months, the sickle cell trait.
Okay. Chance was born with the sickle cell trait.
Yes.
Mr. James might have a point, though. But how sure is he that he doesn't have the sickle cell trait? The judge was not going to take any chances, so she brought in an expert who knew about the sickle cell trait. And this was the explanation she gave.
How is the sickle cell gene passed to a child from a parent?
Okay. The genes for sickle cell disease are very simple. You get a gene for hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the red stuff in the red blood cell, and that's sickle cell disease is a problem with hemoglobin. So you get a gene for hemoglobin on the sperm from the father, and you get a gene for hemoglobin from the egg on the mother, okay? So the way you get sickle cell trait is one of the parents has to have it. So that means that yes, absolutely, one of them has to have sickle cell trait in order for the baby to have sickle cell trait.
So that means if I don't have it, if my mother don't have it, my dad don't have it, so somebody on her side of the family gotta have it.
I don't have it and my daughter don't have it.
Well, since both of them refused to agree on who had the sickle cell trait, the judge decided to reveal the DNA results and find out who the father of the child actually was. This was the verdict she gave.
Mr. James.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are the father. That's your beautiful little boy. How do you feel? It feels good to know for sure?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. What are you feeling in this moment, Miss Kingsbury?
I'm just thinking about everything I went through. I don't have to lie about who my child father is. It just hurt because I went through a lot the past 2 years. For real. I took a lot.
In this case, the plaintiff, Mr. Calhoun, claimed that his girlfriend, Ms. Prout, tricked him into believing he was the father of her child. After finding evidence that she had been sleeping with other men, he claimed that the DNA results would show that he was not the father. He opened his case like this.
Mr. Calhoun, you say the defendant tried to trick you into believing you are her daughter Amaya's biological father. But after uncovering evidence that she slept with other men, you are positive the DNA will prove you are not. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Prout, you claim that you are positive that Mr. Calhoun is Amaya's father, and the only reason he is denying her is because you put him on child support. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Calhoun, you say Ms. Prout is pinning this child on you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
Me and Miss Prout have been friends for a while, but when I seen that she wanted to make a relationship out of things.
It seems that Mr. Calhoun was not ready to have a romantic relationship with the defendant. Even after he made it clear he did not want a relationship, they continued to kick it in bed, and after some time, Ms. Prout found out she was pregnant.
You still continued to have sex with him after he made it clear he didn't want to be in a relationship?
Correct, Your Honor, I did.
And at some point you found out you were pregnant?
Yes, ma'am. Me and a family member of his, we went to the store. I bought a pregnancy test, went back to his house, took the test. It was positive. The lines were fainted. The next day I told him and showed him the test, but we were both in disbelief.
That's not true, Your Honor.
We were both in disbelief, Your Honor, that I was pregnant. He said he didn't believe me, but he wanted a DNA test. So in somewhere in there, you believed that I was pregnant because you wanted a DNA test.
Wow! Mr. Calhoun really didn't want anything serious with Ms. Prout. Blocking her on all social media is just very extreme. Mr. Calhoun told the judge that he believed she had taken fertility pills to get pregnant just because she wanted to be with him. But Ms. Prout claimed it was a lie by saying,
She called me and said that she had took fertility medicine to get pregnant by me, and she got exactly what she wanted out of me.
knowledgeable.
Oh, did you say that, Ms. Prout?
No, Your Honor, that was not what was said. I did not take any fertility pills. Once I found out I was pregnant, let me tell you how crazy. This is the crazy part. I did not believe I was pregnant. I went to about 4 or 5 different emergency rooms, and they all confirmed I was pregnant. I was still in disbelief. Went to 3 clinics. They said I was pregnant. I'm still in disbelief. This is by September. By that time, I'm 12 to 14 weeks, and I conceived between July 21st and July 25th. Mind you, me and Mr. Calhoun.
I mean, they were not using protection while kicking it in bed. So why doesn't she believe she is pregnant? Now, Ms. Prout had her calendar showing the window of conception, which placed Mr. Calhoun as the father of the baby. When asked if he agreed with the dates, he said this.
When you look at that window of conception, Mr. Calhoun, do you have any issue
Yes, ma'am.
with the dates?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't believe you were intimate on
there's
July
no
20th?
issue with the dates, but I'm saying I feel like I have reason to believe that she was intimate with other dudes besides me during those dates.
Really? How do you have reason to believe that?
I have reason to believe that after a conversation that me and Miss Prout had on the phone, she told me that she was having sex with a dude all the way up until the day of the July 24th.
Oh, are you smiling because that's true, Miss Prout?
That's not true, Your Honor. What's true is I was having sex with someone, but this was way before.
Now, it all makes sense. Mr. Calhoun was not the only man she was sleeping with at the time. Funny enough, Ms. Prout did not deny messing with another man. She claimed that she did sleep with someone else, but cut ties with the person before the window of conception.
These 2 weeks, it was 2 weeks prior, I had stopped messing with somebody else because I knew I was going to run into him at the parties. At the end of the day, he really denied my baby because he on child support. Period. Points. That's it.
It has no.
We've been back and forth. One minute I'm the daddy, I'm happy, whoop-de-whoop, blam. Then the next minute I'm not the daddy when you get hit with them papers.
Me, I came to the hospital just to see if she was pregnant. I never believed that she was pregnant. And she's laying there, the baby's in the nursery, and she's doing her paperwork. She says, "I'm doing this paperwork. Do you wanna sign it for your daughter?" I said, "I don't know if this is my daughter. I want a DNA test."
Now, why would she lie about the hospital not being able to perform a DNA test? What could she possibly be hiding? Mr. Calhoun told the judge that even though he signed the birth certificate, he still had doubts about the paternity of the child. These were some of his doubts.
Yes.
At the moment you signed it, you still had doubt.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me what those doubts were.
My doubts come from, I'm walking to the store. I get to the store, I run into 2 neighborhood partners that I knew growing up, and they like, "You got a baby by Miss Prout?" And I'm like, "Yeah, supposedly." She says her little girl is mine. And they tell me, "That's crazy because she said she had a baby by me before." And when I asked her to produce the paperwork and produce the pregnancy test, it was non-producible.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
So I felt
non-producible.
Yes, ma'am. Like she couldn't produce it. Like she couldn't produce it. She wouldn't.
That's a word.
Oh boy, that has to sting. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes after hearing something like that. Now here's the crazy thing. He was not just talking. He had evidence to prove that what he was saying was true.
From Mr. Calhoun, why are you posting this pic if you said I was the father? From Kia, Miss Prout, you a dumb blank. You signed the birth certificate knowing you ain't the father, and then you changed her last name while I was still drugged up.
I posted it, Your Honor. Yeah.
You a dumb blank.
Yeah,
the only thing
But now you standing here saying you the father. I don't know why you denying it. I know why he denying it. That. Now, Miss Prout, you're in court. I want to say this. You're in court. So let's just understand that we're here to tell the truth. Were there any other men?
No, Your Honor.
After saying and posting that conversation on Facebook, I don't believe a word coming out of her mouth. Now, there was a witness in the courtroom, and she happened to be Ms. Prout's god sister. She claimed she had more details about how things really went down in their relationship.
My god sister was having unprotected sex with another man. Also, before he came into the picture, myself and also other members felt that my god sister was already pregnant because of her demeanor.
What do you mean?
Her mood changed. She was very moody. So when he did come into the picture, they had unprotected sex, of course. A week later, she took a pregnancy test. That's not enough time to consider him a possibility. So, my opinion, he's not the father.
Wow, now that has to be one hell of a revelation. There is only one way to find out the truth, and that is to reveal the DNA test. Without wasting any time, the judge revealed the results, and this was her verdict.
Mr. Calhoun, you are the father.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. That's really crazy.
Why are you so upset, Miss Proud?
Y'all don't know what I've been through with this man. Like, this whole beef thing, I can't co-parent like that. Either we gonna co-parent the right way or it's just not gonna happen and we can go to court and figure it out like that. But I just...
All right, we don't have to co-parent. I would like full custody of him.
From the expression on his face, you could tell he was furious as hell. Mr. Streety claimed that he was furious when he found out that his ex-girlfriend had cheated on him with a man who worked at a haunted house. He was in court with the hopes of getting his name removed from the child's birth certificate.
Mr. Streety, you say you got spooked when you found out that your ex-girlfriend, Miss Johnson, cheated with a man she worked with at a haunted house. You have dragged the defendant into court today to prove that you are not her 13-month-old son, Zeandre's father, so you can remove your name from the birth certificate. Additionally, you are also suing for $108, the cost to get your name removed. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Johnson, you say you never forced Mr. Streety to sign Zeandre's birth certificate, and you are furious. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Streety claims he was trying to do the right thing, and that is why he signed the certificate. Apparently, he signed the birth certificate for her other children, knowing fully that, well, he was not the father. When the judge asked him why he did, he claimed he was foolish.
You signed the birth certificate for a child you knew wasn't yours.
Yes, Your Honor. I know how foolish that.
And now Zeandre, you question if he's yours, and you signed his birth certificate too.
Yes, ma'am.
So how many children do you have between the two of you?
One.
You just have one?
Allegedly.
The other one you're on the birth certificate, but you're not the biological father, but you have 2 other children besides that.
I have 3 other children besides that.
Now tell me about this relationship before you got pregnant with Zeandre.
We met back up after years of not seeing each other, and then he left and went to Denver. And when he came back that December, he proposed to me.
Moving on, the judge then asked him why he had doubts about the child he had with the defendant, Ms. Johnson. He told the judge he had an exhibit that would explain why he had doubts. When he approached the exhibit, this was the explanation he gave.
Moved in together in or around April. This is her parents' house. This is one of their properties, okay? All of her bills automatically my responsibilities.
No, they
All right?
weren't.
Hold
He
your
got
thoughts.
his name.
Hold your thoughts. Thank you. Here we go. We're moving through here. After a midst of all of that going on, I'm getting tired of being accused of things that I'm not doing. So I move out. Not even a few weeks later, see her at the gas station around the street from my brother's house. Who was that you were riding with? Hold that thought. Couple weeks later, I'm at my uncle's house.
Wait a minute, saw with other man. That's the red car? And what did you see when you saw that?
I saw them at the gas station at a pump. She just chilling in the truck. As a matter of fact, this person that she's with, if this was such a good man, he's sitting in the truck, she's pumping the gas.
Wow. Now, that is some serious evidence right there. Judge Lauren then asked her if she could recall the events Mr. Streety was talking about. Guess what? She could. She claimed she recalled every single thing, but it all happened in a different month.
Do you remember those instances?
I do.
Do you remember the man you were driving with?
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
were with another man?
I was, but all that took place in October. I didn't meet the guy until October.
No. She tells me that, Your Honor, and as far as she's concerned, she's gonna tell me that.
And
all
so,
right? As far as I'm
Mr.
concerned-
Streety, I just want to make sure. Now, how do you know it's August? You just remember that was the date?
No, that's when I saw him. As far as I'm concerned, after this time passed by, she told me that she was with somebody else. She had met her at a haunted house that she and he had worked at together, okay? As far as I'm concerned, this is the same person that I saw earlier. You can't prove to me that it's not.
All right, and then in October, that's when it is revealed to you that she cheated.
Ms. Johnson has a lot of explaining to do, that's for sure. In trying to defend herself, Ms. Johnson claimed that she was not getting enough attention from Mr. Streety. She told the judge that he was always going to see his ex and her child, and that upset her.
Are you done with your
Yes,
exhibit,
ma'am.
sir? Yes, please step back to the podium.
He made beats, or he would help record songs with other people without a fee.
Oh, I thought you meant he was freelancing with other women.
I mean, his ex, of course. Like, he would leave my house just to see his ex and their child. And they would spend time together. They
Your
had
Honor.
pictures all on
Your Honor.
Facebook, him lying in the bed when the baby was born. It's like, wow, you didn't tell me any of this. I didn't know none of this. You didn't owe me an explanation for anything.
Listen, and as bad as that is, that didn't land us here in paternity court.
You have to agree with Judge Lauren on that one. After yapping about, the judge then asked Ms. Johnson to tell her side of the story. She started by saying that Mr. Streety had the dates mixed up, and that's why he thinks he is not the father of her child.
And he moved out in June. He stopped by just to check on me or whatever, but it wasn't that much.
So I'll say in July, that's when I got pregnant. And this right here, all this happened in October.
So you saying he got the dates all mixed up?
He does.
And you're saying that when he saw you with the other man driving around, you were already pregnant?
Yes, I was. I was already pregnant.
Were you sleeping with the other man?
I met this guy in October at the haunted house. I would say 2 weeks after being there, of getting the haunted house set up and get ready to bring customers in, because it was like from the 15th to the 31st.
One thing about these two is that they love to argue. Jeez. Now, when Ms. Johnson found out she was pregnant, she claimed and told Mr. Streety. Trying to explain how she told him, Mr. Streety jumped in and told the judge how everything really happened.
The point when she tells you she's pregnant.
I went over there to just go check on her. We just laying there, and she's like, yo, as a matter of fact, I asked her, have you been with somebody else? She's always been honest. She said yes. I said, well, have y'all been sleeping together? Yeah. Oh, so it just only happened one time? No, it's been 2 or 3 times. I'm like, where'd y'all sleep together?
October.
Where'd y'all sleep together at? Right here is where?
Nowhere
the same bed that me and her been laying in.
After October.
Are you kidding me?
And when I told him I cheated, that's when he decided he wanted to come back around and play dad or play house or whatever. Because he was always in and out the house.
Who do your children look at as dad?
Of course you.
So
And you
how am
know
I playing
that.
dad?
Looks like Ms. Johnson is not happy about the fact that Mr. Streety is no longer willing to step up for her and her kids. Even though she got emotional about the whole situation, Mr. Streety was still firm on the fact that he didn't believe he was the father of the child.
Hey, if you felt like that at that one point, all the times that I feel like that you might have felt like that before, you might have been doing that before too. You don't say stuff like that to a person, and when they get insecure about what you said, you get mad at them because they insecure.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Why did you sign Zeandre's birth certificate?
Your Honor, I was already there for the other 3. I ain't taking nothing from Ms. Johnson, but I already know what she dealing with. I know that they fathers was not there for them. I already know that. I'm sitting there in the hospital holding him.
So wait a minute. This is what I want to understand. How do we go from this picture of you in the hospital to Zeandre is now 13 months old?
Let's just say the cheating was not the only reason he had doubts. The moment we've been waiting for is here, and it's time we find out who the biological father of the child really is. Here are the results.
Mr. Streety, you are the father.
I told you.
How do you feel now, Mr. Streety, now that you know for certain?
That just shows right there that she did have somewhat of some kind of respect for me. You know what I'm saying? She never been unsure. I always been unsure.
I believe you doubt it. You know, some men come in here, I feel like they ain't got doubt, they just don't want the responsibility. And I'm gonna tell you something. This is a consequence of a relationship where there's no trust. And what I wanna say to you all is, if you're going to do better for the children, you all have to find a way to establish a foundation of trust. She knew you were insecure, but one thing you testified to, Mr. Streety, was you said, she don't lie.
Ms. Hicks claimed that the sins of her past were the reason she was present in court. She wanted to prove this to the defendant, Mr. Smith, that he was the father of her child with the hopes of saving her relationship. She opened her case like this.
Ms. Hicks, you say the sins of your past have brought you into court today to save your relationship. You are petitioning the court for a DNA test to prove that the defendant is the father of your 3-month-old daughter, Honesty. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, you say you have medical evidence to prove you are not Honesty's father, and if that's not enough, your bombshell witness will close your case. The plaintiff's very own sister says you are not the father.
Wow. Even her blood sister doesn't believe the baby belongs to Mr. Smith. I wonder where it all went wrong. Before Judge Lauren got to ask any questions, Ms. Hicks's sister jumped in and told the judge that Ms. Hicks had been sleeping with several people.
It just bores me.
Tell the truth.
It bores me.
So,
I got something to say. She's telling false lies, okay? I know for a fact that he was not the only one she was sleeping with.
in the same bed with me when I'm sleeping with these people. I get.
How long have I been your sister?
I guess.
Okay. Anyways, you know, they was staying with me for some time. Okay. From what I know, my sister's a cheater. She been like that her whole life. Okay.
So, Mr. Smith.
Yes, Your Honor.
You hear the allegations that have been stated thus far. This is what leads you to believe you are not the biological father of Honesty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain.
I used to work out a lot, and one time
Now, I wasn't expecting to hear that. If Mr. Smith can't have kids, how can he be the child's father? Something is definitely not right. After telling the judge he was incapable of having kids, the judge then asked if he ever told Ms. Hicks about the condition. This was what happened.
This is what you were told by a medical professional.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you inform Ms. Hicks about this when you all were in a sexual relationship?
No, Your Honor. He never informed me about any of this. When he did tell me, this came up like 2 months after Honesty was born. Like, she's living proof that you can have kids. I didn't make this baby myself.
Girl, you know dang well that is
Like,
not my
I
baby.
can't climb on top of myself and get pregnant.
Please. You know dang well that's
It's
not
not
my
possible.
baby.
So, Mr. Smith, you seem confident. You say she knows good and well that it's not your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
And why do you think she knows that? If you say you informed her about the fact that you couldn't have children?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there you have it. Mr. Smith drops the bomb and tells the judge why he really feels the baby is not his. Here's the funny thing. Mr. Smith claimed it was Ms. Hicks's sister that told him everything she was doing behind his back. As you would expect, the judge has to ask her why she spilled the beans.
Why would you do that?
Y'all don't know my sister like I do, okay? And besides, David is a sweet person. You know what I'm saying? I think he deserves to know what goes on behind his back.
So you felt sorry for Mr. Smith because you felt like here was a good guy being taken advantage of by my sister. And you know good and well he was not the only potential father.
There's multiple guys.
What was the nature of this relationship? Were you all committed or were you all just dating? What were y'all?
See, Your Honor, we were in a relationship. We technically still are, but these lies that she's pushing in his ears and everybody else is pushing in his ears.
I don't push no lies in his ear.
At this point, let's just say the battle is between the two sisters and not Mr. Smith. Let's get to the evidence part, shall we? Mr. Smith told the judge he came across a message that made him have more doubt about the child's paternity. This was the evidence he displayed.
The other guy said, I miss that kitty cat. And Ms. Hicks responded, you know he leaves, so you can come over anytime.
Yes, Your Honor.
You saw this message and you feel like she was definitely sleeping around.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Hicks, I have to ask you, did something similar to this come through your phone?
I don't even remember that text message, Your Honor. I honestly
I bet
do
you
not
don't.
remember
I bet
this
you don't
text
even remember
message
when.
whatsoever.
Your Honor, I bet you don't even remember when he went to his grandma's house because they got into it. She had another man coming in the bed, sleeping in his bed. You
Yes,
hear me?
Your Honor.
Over there for 2 days.
Another man?
2 days,
Yes, Your Honor.
Just tell the truth, Ms. Hicks. There's so much evidence already. Now, Mr. Smith wasn't done stating his doubts to the judge. He claimed he could remember a time when he got home and saw a guy jump out of the window of his house.
What happened?
Well, I came out the car. I seen somebody jump out the window, and I'm knocking on the door for like 30 minutes.
But a guy just jumped out the window, but you gotta knock on your own door.
Exactly.
Pitiful.
And so wait, were you there when the guy jumped out the window?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I was in my car. I'm looking at him run through the field.
And it took her at least 30 minutes to open up the door.
The day he came to the house, he has a habit of losing his keys.
But Miss Hicks, let's get to the man jumping out the window and running through the field part.
Stay on the second floor. We live in an apartment building.
And once again, she denies it. I wonder who is telling the truth in that courtroom. Ms. Hicks claimed that when she took a pregnancy test and found out she was pregnant, Mr. Smith was beyond happy about the pregnancy.
I took the first one. It came out negative. He was like, go ahead and take the other one so we can see the results of that one. So I takes the other one while he's right there in the bathroom watching. And it immediately pops up that it was positive. And so he was like, I knew it. He was happy. So all this doubt in it,
And he
I don't
came to me
get
and
it.
said he can't have kids, so he don't think the baby is his.
So, Mr. Smith, you found out she's pregnant?
Yes.
Were you happy about it?
Faking it to her, but I know in my mind that
Faking it.
I can't have.
Oh, you were faking it to her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, the judge was not going to stick around to listen to their rants. It seemed like no one wanted to tell the truth, and so she decided to reveal the results. This was her verdict.
Mr. Smith, you are the father.
What next? Thank you so much, Your Honor. I'm so glad that I came here today to get these results so I can finally be at peace so me and my daughter can live with this man who I plan to marry someday. I really love him. I do, and I just hope at some point in time, this died down between me and my sister.
This is a perfect moment to begin again. It really is. You know, my mother had 6 sisters. My mother comes from a family of 10 children.
Mr. Harrington stood there with a look that said he was certain he was about to walk out of that courtroom with his name cleared. According to him, Ms. Day was nothing more than a party girl, a desperate woman trying to pin a baby on him.
Mr. Harrington, you claim you are not the father of Miss Day's 1-month-old daughter, Nalani Day, and want her to stop pinning her baby on you. You say your sexual relationship with the defendant ended before she got pregnant.
But Ms. Day wasn't backing down. She shot back. There wasn't a doubt in her mind. None. She claimed they were still very much involved during the time of conception. In fact, she had a very specific memory of it happening.
And she's a promiscuous person. She like to be, you know what I'm saying, she a party person. So she do whatever she feel like she want to do. And she knows I'm a good father to the child I already got with her. You know, I'm a good person and I take care of my responsibilities.
Yeah, that was my reaction too. She said they were at the hospital, dealing with their other child's medical emergency, and in the midst of all that, one thing led to another. According to her, that's when she got pregnant. But Mr. Harrington, he wasn't buying it.
So we got into it, broke up. My middle child, the other child that we have together, was having seizures. So she was in and out of the hospital. When we was in the hospital, at the hospital, we did it.
Mr. Harrington swore up and down that she must have conceived later when he wasn't even in the picture. Then came the text messages, the anonymous tip that had blown the whole situation open. Mr. Harrington didn't find out about the pregnancy from Ms. Day. He got a cryptic text from a mystery number.
She was pregnant. I had to find out through an anonymous texter that...
How did you find out she was pregnant?
An anonymous texter, I swear. We got into a conversation, I got the text right here.
Let me see those, please, Jerome.
Look.
Let me see.
You about to see?
Make it up.
Guy 1? Who was Guy 1? The message suggested that there was also a Guy 2. Mr. Harrington, confused and furious, had gone straight to his sister, the one person he knew would tell him the truth. And what she said only made things worse.
That's how you found out she was pregnant,
Yes,
though.
that's exactly.
Never mind guy number 1 and guy number 2.
Yeah, that's how I found out. Then I asked my sister, I called her, whatever. I was like, so I heard you was hiding a pregnancy. She was like, Kayla didn't want me to tell you, and she was also saying that you the daddy.
Not only had Ms. Day kept the pregnancy a secret, but she had also supposedly been in contact with another man. Ms. Day, of course, denied all of it. There was no Guy 1, no other contenders, no secret cover-up. But then, in a moment of contradiction, she slipped up. She admitted there were other guys, just not guys who could be the father. That's when the courtroom tension thickened.
Did you immediately call him, or did you tell his sister and neither one of you all told him and the anonymous tipper had to tell him?
I probably told his sister before I told him, but even if it was something that I did not tell him.
Judge Lauren was watching closely now, picking apart the inconsistencies. If Ms. Day had truly been pregnant before she started talking to other men, why hadn't she told Mr. Harrington herself? Why did it take an anonymous tip for him to find out? And if other men were in the picture, how could she be so certain that Mr. Harrington was the father?
Are you supportive of this pregnancy, Mr. Harrington? Are you at the doctor's appointments? Do you come for the birth?
Yes, I was there for the birth because I was saying to myself, okay, if I am a possible father, I don't want to have missed the birth. So I was keeping it real with myself. I was being real with myself.
Then came another twist. Ms. Day called her sister as a witness, and she revealed that Mr. Harrington is simply denying the baby to please the girlfriend. If this is true, then Ms. Day's earlier conviction has been justified.
Anything to you that this is not my baby?
No, ma'am.
Got it. You have a witness. I'd like to hear from her. Ma'am, please stand. Step to the podium, state your name for the court.
Ebony Hall.
Ms. Hall, what relationship are you to Ms. Day?
I'm her sister, her older sister.
Her older sister. And what do you know about the birth of Nalani that would indicate, since you are her witness, that Mr. Harrington is Nalani's biological father?
Then came the moment of truth, the DNA results. Mr. Harrington stood upright, shoulders tense. Ms. Day didn't flinch, convinced she was about to be vindicated. The envelope was opened. The truth hit like a bomb.
Mr. Harrington, you are not the father.
What? Told you, bro.
Are you serious?
Told you, can I Millie Rock?
Ms. Lopez walked into that courtroom tired, frustrated, and ready to expose what she called a DNA testing scam. She had been raising 2 children alone, struggling every day while the man she claimed fathered them, Mr. Carbajal, refused to step up. Today, she was ready to prove it.
Ms. Lopez, you are here today because you claim the defendant, Mr. Carbajal, allegedly perpetuated a DNA testing scam to try to deny paternity of your kids. You say you're tired of struggling daily to take care of your children alone, and you need to prove he's their biological father today.
On the other side of the courtroom, Mr. Carbajal stood stone-faced, flanked by his sister for moral support. Their relationship began through social media, quickly escalating into a physical relationship. There was no protection, no precautions, just reckless passion. And then, pregnancy. When Ms. Lopez broke the news, Mr. Carbajal's response was cold. He didn't want a child with someone he didn't love. From the start, he distanced himself, and that distance only grew when the baby arrived.
Mr. Carbajal, take me back.
Okay.
You meet each other.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I'm trying to figure out why was there ever doubt in the first place.
Well, I met her through a social network. She told me, hey, come see me, for the weekend or just one night. So I went to go see her.
Mr. Carbajal wasn't just denying paternity. He was accusing Ms. Lopez of fraud. According to him, she was the liar, attempting to pin 2 children on him out of greed. He was adamant she was only after his family's money.
So you claim Mr. Carbajal was the only person you were with?
Yes, Your Honor.
During that time that she was
Your Honor.
conceived?
All she's doing this because she wants our money. She knows my
I don't
family.
care
She
about
knows
money,
my family
okay?
has money, and she knows I don't work.
I don't care about
don't
money,
work,
Your
right?
Honor. Growing up, I did not have a father, and I did not want my daughter growing up without a father.
But what made him so sure the children weren't his? That's where it got wild. His excuse? A random man in a photo. His sister claimed Ms. Lopez once showed her a picture of a man who looked exactly like the baby. That was it. That was the so-called evidence that turned him against his own child. A photo. No proof of an affair, no real reason to doubt, just a snap judgment based on someone else's face.
He showed my sister Miriam.
He was a friend
picture
of mine.
a guy, and my sister took picture of her phone.
He was a
because
friend of mine,
that
Your
guy
Honor.
looked exactly like.
No.
So
Liana.
you were showing pictures in your phone of
showing
a
my
guy
sister.
to your sister.
Yes, Your Honor,
and
he
she
was a
came
friend.
across a picture that she felt looked just like.
Yes, Your Honor.
Aliana.
Yes.
What started as a simple question of fatherhood quickly unraveled into a web of half-truths, fake evidence, and a desperate attempt to escape responsibility. Ms. Lopez's mom quickly corrected an early lie. Mr. Carbajal's sister rose to his defense.
She's saying, I'm the father. Why couldn't I sign a birth certificate?
Because you weren't there from the beginning.
I was there.
I was there when they both were born.
Hold on, Miss Avila, please stand up. Stand up. What is it that you'd like to add? They're saying they were at the hospital. You say they weren't?
They were at the hospital after they were born. I was there when Aliana was born.
Mr. Carbajal tried another excuse. The baby didn't look like him. According to him, the child's skin tone was too dark. Never mind that his own father was the same shade. Then came the most ridiculous claim yet, the baby's cleft lip. He insisted no one in his family had ever been born with one, so there was no way the child could be his, as if genetics worked like that.
What is it about this handsome young man that you doubt that he's your son?
I'm light-skinned, Your Honor.
He looks just like his grandpa.
Dad is dark.
His
That
dad
doesn't
is
mean
dark.
anything. That doesn't mean
My
anything.
little boy, my little grandson looks just like your
No,
dad.
no, he
because
doesn't.
there
He
are
does. He
pictures.
doesn't. No,
There's
he doesn't.
pictures
Yes.
that we
No.
looked side by side.
Yes,
he looks
we
like
did.
your dad.
But then came another twist. Ms. Lopez had sent him a picture of the baby with another man. Why would you think that snapping your baby with another man will convince a suspicious father to act? Her explanation for the action doesn't make sense, and Mr. Carbajal dug in.
So
No,
Ms. Lopez, you sent him a picture?
I sent him a picture
of
to show
someone else holding a child that you said was his?
I sent it because to show him that there would be another man, possibly,
Why would it be another man?
possibly to man up and take care of his responsibilities.
There's just no end to this drama. But the real bombshell? The so-called DNA scam. Ms. Lopez claimed that Mr. Carbajal had faked a DNA test to escape responsibility. She believed he had tampered with the results, ensuring they would say he wasn't the father. If true, this would be one of the biggest lies ever seen in court. But was he bold enough to pull something like that?
Mr. Carbajal perpetrated a DNA testing scam.
Yes, Your Honor.
so that he could get out of taking care of the kid?
He did a paternity test that he bought from the store. I did not know about it until he gave me the results that came back.
The courtroom was tense as the moment of truth arrived. Unimpressed with Mr. Carbajal's weak defenses and the conflicting testimonies, the judge prepared to read the DNA results. But even she couldn't have seen the twists.
Mr. Carbajal, you are her father. Okay, now we have the answers for Aliana. We still have to get Noah's.
My mom wouldn't have spent so much money on those tests to be
spend
swabbing
a lot of
other
money.
people.
We spend a
other
lot of
kids.
money to do those tests.
You guys should have still told us.
The tension in the courtroom was thick enough to cut with a knife. On one side, Mr. Butterfield stood firm, claiming he had been robbed of fatherhood. On the other, Ms. Bracknell, fiercely denying it, clung to the family she had built with her fiancé, Mr. Dallas. At the heart of it all, a 2-month-old baby girl, Kara, who, according to Butterfield, was unquestionably his. And yet, the mother vehemently insisted otherwise.
Mr. Butterfield, you've summoned your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Bracknell, to paternity court to prove that you are the father of her 2-month-old daughter, Cara. You say she's denying you are Cara's dad because she's worried her family will be torn apart when the results prove you are the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
But as the case opened up, so did the truth. And let's just say someone was about to be exposed in the worst way possible. Butterfield and Bracknell weren't just a casual fling. They had lived together for nearly a year, shared dreams, and even tried to conceive a child. But when the relationship crumbled, Bracknell left. As she walked away, she threw a cryptic comment. Thank you for the gift.
Mr. Butterfield, why do you believe Cara's your daughter?
Me and Mrs. Bracknell had a residence together for almost a year. We did try to, have a baby together before.
Okay, so you lived together?
Yes, we did.
And you were in a relationship?
Yes, Your Honor. She had told me when we were breaking up, she said, thank you for the gift. And I said, what gift was that?
At the time, Butterfield thought nothing of it. A sarcastic remark? A final jab? It wasn't until months later that reality hit. Bracknell was pregnant, but instead of telling him, she kept the pregnancy hidden for 8 months. By the time he found out, another man was already playing the role of father. But here's where things got really messy.
So, Ms. Bracknell, you were previously in a relationship with Mr. Butterfield?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I was.
Then you went back in a relationship with Mr. Dallas?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you have 3 other children together?
Yes, we do.
Now, when you left Mr. Butterfield and went back to Mr. Dallas, you were pregnant at that time?
No.
Bracknell swore there was no chance Butterfield was the father. In her version of events, she had moved on before ever conceiving Kara. Mr. Dallas, her fiancé, backed her up with a neatly prepared timeline. According to them, Butterfield was out of the picture by August. By mid-September, she and Dallas were together. If the math checked out, there was no possible way Butterfield was the biological father.
So, Mr. Dallas, you say you are Cara's father. You believe you're her biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
He is. Why do you
No,
believe
he's
so?
not. If I may have the evidence.
Oh, yes.
August.
Let me see that evidence.
August, her and Jesse split up. September, we was getting
Together, moved
We
in.
were.
So this calendar outlines.
But Butterfield wasn't having it. He knew something they weren't expecting him to say. Butterfield calmly pointed out the fatal flaw in their story. He and Bracknell had been intimate long after she claimed they had broken up. Not just once, not just twice.
Mr. Butterfield, you look at this calendar. Is this accurate? Is this when the relationship ended and when she went back to Mr. Dallas?
No, Your Honor, it's not.
It's not?
No.
What do you remember?
Oh, because honestly, we were sleeping together after that, all the way up until October 8th, the last time we had sex, because I remember.
And he wasn't just saying it. He remembered the exact date, the exact place. He even offered to take a lie detector test. That's when the energy in the courtroom shifted. Bracknell, who had been confident and dismissive, suddenly looked uneasy, but she wasn't backing down.
Sorry, I'm not meaning to interrupt. She used to work for an auto parts store, and she would call me and be like, hey, let's have a quickie, let's do this, and then she'd go back on her little...
Oh, really?
So, no, that right there is all a lie.
So you're saying
I'd
she
be
was
willing to
still
take
sleeping with you in October?
Yeah, I'd be willing to take a lie detector test, would you?
Yeah, I would, actually.
Bracknell argued that Kara had to be Dallas's daughter because she looked like her other kids. Same cheeks, nose, and everything. She even insisted that Dallas had been there at the birth, had named Kara. and had signed the birth certificate. But Mr. Butterfield won't hear of it.
How you would react if, in fact, Kara is not your biological child?
You know what, Your Honor? I'm gonna love her the same. She's my little daughter. She's gonna be my little daughter. I'm gonna raise her my life.
She is
I'm gonna
not
raise
your
her.
daughter. She's
I'll raise her.
Nothing's going to be changed.
Nothing's gonna change. I love her to death, just like I do now. Before today, I'll love her the same. You know what? With this,
To them, the debate was over. The family was already formed. Why try to break it apart? But Butterfield wasn't letting go. Because for him, this wasn't about ruining a relationship. It was about his daughter. He wants to be in his daughter's life, and nothing would stop him.
Miss Bracknell, what you're saying is once you were finished with the relationship with Mr. Butterfield, you didn't have sex with him again.
No.
Once you went back to Mr. Dallas, you were in the relationship with him, and that's it. And that's why you believe there's absolutely no possibility Mr. Butterfield could be Kara's biological father.
And then, the moment of truth arrived. If the results confirm what Mr. Butterfield said, then Ms. Bracknell is lying. If they don't, Mr. Butterfield hasn't been telling the truth. The truth was about to be revealed.
Kara's biological father is Mr. Butterfield.
What did I tell you?
It started like a love story, one that Mr. Wilson now claims was built on deception. He says he rolled out the red carpet for Ms. Dean, brought her into his home, and even planned to start a family with her. But behind closed doors, she was allegedly entertaining other men, right under his nose. And now, 17 months later, he's sitting in court, determined to prove that the child he once called his own isn't his after all.
Mr. Wilson, you've opened your case today to prove that Ms. Dean's 17-month-old daughter, Jakaya, is not your biological child. You say you moved her into your home, laid out the red carpet, only to find out she was rolling around with other men in your home. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Dean, on the other hand, has a completely different version of events. According to her, Wilson wasn't just involved, he was overjoyed. He wanted this baby. He planned for this baby. He cut the umbilical cord and signed the birth certificate without a second thought. And now he's acting like he never meant any of it, leaving her and her daughter to fend for themselves.
Mr. Wilson has turned his back on your daughter, and he welcomed her into the world and signed her birth certificate. You claim Mr. Wilson is her father, and his denial is hurting you and your daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, what really happened? Did Wilson get played? Or is he just another man running from responsibility? From the beginning, Wilson claimed he had doubts. He had been fooled before. Women in his past had made him believe he was a father, only for him to find out later that he wasn't. And this time, he wouldn't be made a fool of again.
Wilson, why don't you believe that you're the father of Ms. Dean's daughter, Jakaya?
Your Honor, I don't believe I'm the father because I have been fooled by multiple females in the past.
Oh.
What do you mean you planned this?
And I have been going down this rodeo for far too long. I signed on a birth certificate. I'm not there physically. I just can't handle it.
Ms. Dean, however, was furious at his accusations. She swore up and down that the baby was his. How could he deny a child who looked just like him? And let's not forget, this baby wasn't an accident. They had planned for this. He had begged her for a child, knowing his past heartbreaks, and she had given him what he wanted. Now he wanted to back out? Not happening.
Dean, you say this is unnecessary.
It really is.
Go ahead, explain.
It really is. He's being not only belligerent and lying. Him and his family is lying because not only did we plan this baby, we had concessions. I had my period.
You had concessions?
You know, we was literally getting down, doing things besides just...
He says things just didn't add up. Ms. Dean's story kept changing. 1 minute, she was devoted to him. And then there was the moment of realization, the moment that sealed his doubts. Ms. Dean had the audacity to post a picture of the baby online, side by side with her ex.
We actually planned the baby. The baby was just not a coincidence. I asked
So
her
now
could
you
she
denied
have
her,
a
though,
baby for me.
that you planned.
Because she knew what I've been through in the past with not having kids and how desperately I wanted to have a kid. And she had me under the pressure that she was willing to go through with it with me.
And I did.
And
you want the baby?
Then, you know, I see the baby, but I don't see me in the baby. I see the ex in the baby.
Wilson recalls being there at the birth of the baby and even cutting the umbilical cord. He had submitted various pictures of him and his baby after the birth. According to Wilson, there was no doubt in his mind that the baby was not his at the time, but then everything changed.
So tell me, Mr. Wilson, you've been informed of the pregnancy. Were you there at the birth? What happens when Kyle was born? Stop talking, Miss Dean. I asked Mr. Wilson a question.
I had to be there at the birth, Your Honor, because I cut the umbilical cord for her to have the baby. So I had to be there.
So you were there at the birth?
Yes, I was.
Did you go to doctor's appointments for the baby
She
too?
never followed through with it.
Wilson remembers the late-night phone calls, the hushed conversations, and the times he asked why she was always hiding her phone. The next, she was sneaking off, whispering on the phone, disappearing into different rooms. Then, there was the biggest red flag of all. Her ex was suspiciously present during the pregnancy.
You're a proud dad. This is a beautiful moment, and you're blessed.
Yes, ma'am.
So where does it go wrong?
Well, we're trying to build a relationship while she's pregnant. And in the mix of us building a relationship, she's getting bigger. She's whispering. I hear echoes. She's always in a different room of the apartment. And I'm like, why you never around the kids? Why? She said, I can't talk now because...
But Wilson wasn't buying it. He had met the ex and asked him about the child, and the ex had confirmed that the child was his. For Wilson, it's obvious that Ms. Dean was lying straight to his face, pretending to be faithful while sneaking around behind his back. And when he started putting the pieces together, the whole thing fell apart.
I asked him, I said, is y'all having a child together? He's like, yeah. I said, what y'all supposed to be having? I said, a little girl. He went into details. So that fueled my doubts.
Wait a minute, this was before the baby was born?
Yes, before.
So why'd you sign the birth certificate?
I'm gonna tell you why. When the baby was born, it was so light and bright.
Then came the DNA results. Ms. Dean had maintained that Mr. Wilson was lying. She disagreed with every version of Wilson's story, but there's only one way of finding out who is telling the truth and who is lying in court.
Mr. Wilson, you are not the father.
Ms. Funzie had come to paternity court desperate to prove that her 1-month-old son, Joaquim, belonged to her boyfriend, Mr. Irvin. But Mr. Irvin wasn't convinced, and his doubts weren't random. They were fueled by something explosive.
Ms. Funzie, you have opened your case to save your family. You are here to prove your 1-month-old baby, Joaquim Irvin, is your boyfriend, Mr. Irvin's biological son. You say you and Mr. Irvin have 2 other children, and you plan to have this 3rd child. You blame his sister for stirring up his ridiculous doubts. Is that correct?
Ms. Funzie admitted to cheating weeks before she discovered she was pregnant. A one-time mistake, she claimed. A moment of revenge for his alleged cheating. But was it really just once? Was it nothing more than a regrettable slip?
Here it is, 4 in the morning. I seen her sleeping and her phone was right beside her. Some told me to just go through her phone. So I found out that she spent the night at her friend's house with this other guy.
But I came to him and let him know that I cheated on him.
After he found out, she always going out with her friends. He could never
go out with his friends too. Also, yes, he do. Yes, he do.
Hold on.
No, she did.
Hold on now, Miss Fonzie. Hold on now. You said you cheated. How did you end up cheating?
Because Mr. Irvin wasn't buying it, especially not after he saw the ultrasound results and something about the numbers that just didn't add up. And that's when things took a turn. Mr. Irvin's sister entered the picture, throwing gasoline onto the fire.
So how soon after you found out she was cheating, confronted her, did you find out she was pregnant?
When we went to the mobile ultrasound, I wanted to see how many weeks she was, and when she came out with the paper, I couldn't understand the number of how many weeks she was. Like they drew the number in cursive or something.
They drew 1 week and 2 days, and you saw the lady hand me the paper off the bus. You parked right outside, and you saw her hand me the paper.
She claimed she saw the pregnancy paperwork, but that it was not in its original state. According to her, it had been altered, scribbled over to hide something. And let's be honest, if the dates were so straightforward, why would anyone need to rewrite them? Ms. Funzie brushed it off, but the seed of doubt had already been planted.
Jordan showed me the paperwork. She scribbled over it. She scribbled over it and wrote what she wanted on the paperwork.
What was on the line that talked about how many weeks along?
I couldn't tell because she wrote over it.
What was written over it?
Just like a scribble.
A scribble of what?
Despite the doubts, Mr. Irvin stayed. He went to every doctor's appointment. He was there for the birth, and in a moment of weakness, or maybe obligation, he signed the birth certificate. Then came the ultimate defense. Miss Funzie wasn't talking about timing anymore, nor was she leaning on their years of history. No, her argument was genetics.
Yes.
Do you have any doubt?
No, I don't have any doubt because they look alike. And They all have knock knees just like Jordan.
You even submitted evidence to the court, right, about the knock knees. You feel like they got the same?
Yes.
Knock knees. Oh, they're okay. All the other kids.
She claimed baby Joachim had the same knock knees as his father. That was her proof. That was why she was so sure, because according to her, that was all the evidence needed. But the court wasn't about to rely on knee shapes. A medical expert was brought in.
Dr. Richardson, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I'd like to know from you, can you explain what knock knees are and if they are a genetic trait?
I certainly can, Your Honor. Yes, knock knees, it is when the knees point in toward each other, and more technically, when someone stands straight up and there's about a 3-inch gap between their ankles.
So there it is. Knock knees are not proof of paternity, but it wasn't over. Ms. Funzy said she had spent only one night with the man and lost his number. She wasn't counting on the court to reach out to the man and get his testimony. I can tell you now that the testimony was different from what Ms. Funzy had been telling us.
Did a statement to the court. It says, we eventually got each other's phone numbers and started texting. She told me about the things that was going on between her and Jordan. The first time me and her had sex, she came over and saw me. We had sex in Jordan's car.
Ow. The truth is now out in the open. Mr. Irvin is pissed. Who wouldn't be? What he was told and what he believed had been shattered. Ms. Funzy is now on defense, trying to use another lie to cover her past lies. Hold on, there is more.
I go to work, and this what you did?
Jordan.
Why is you lying to me?
Jordan, I'm not lying to you.
So hold on. When was Joachim born?
He was born June the 20th.
June the 20th.
He was born June the 20th, 2018.
June 20th, 2018. So if your relationship with this other man was in October or November...
It was in November.
Well, that would have been a 7-month pregnancy. Miss Funzy, is there something that you just need to tell the court and be honest about?
Now that there is nowhere to hide, Ms. Funzy admitted that she cheated because Mr. Irvin cheated. And the result? A baby whose paternity is not known. The results are ready. The truth that would either mend a broken relationship or shatter it completely.
Determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Winfield.
This was the lie that shattered everything. A mother's deception, a daughter's broken trust, and a courtroom moment that no one saw coming. For years, Angela Booman had spun a disturbing web of lies about her daughter's father. But today, before Judge Lauren, the truth was about to explode.
Ms. Bowman, you've dragged your daughter, Kalina, to court to save your relationship. You admit after years of deception and confusion, you now must prove to her that her actual biological father is Mr. James Stewart.
Angela stood in court, desperate to convince her daughter, Kalina, that her birth father was James Stewart, a man who had died nearly 2 decades ago. But Kalina wasn't buying it. After years of being told that another man, Mr. Watson, was her father, only to discover later he wasn't, how could she trust anything her mother said now?
Why are these results so important for you today?
Over the years, I have lied to my daughter, and for the past 4 years, it's become very hard on our relationship.
Kalina found out the truth in the worst way possible. She was left in the dark, taken from her mother's home by Mr. Watson, and cut off from all contact with her. When she finally reconnected with Angela, she was blindsided by yet another revelation. Mr. Watson wasn't her father after all. The betrayal hit hard. 16 years of believing a lie. 16 years of trusting a woman who had deceived her at every turn.
I found out during this summer, going into high school, that he was not my father. Wow. I was forced to be taken out of my mother's house and go to his house where I had no contact with my mother. And then when I finally was able to go back around to my mother.
And now, Angela wanted her to accept yet another story. Angela, however, was determined. She admitted to years of deception, but insisted that she had finally figured it out. Mr. Stewart had to be the father. She had told Mr. Watson he was the father, and she stuck with that story for years. A story that is now hurting her daughter.
Your daughter was crushed. I mean, she says it just broke her.
At the time, Kalina had just came over to my house. She had just moved in with me, and I happened to go to work one day, and Mr. Watson had recently got married.
Kalina has gone through all the emotions, and now she is reluctant to trust her mother again. After all, who is to say that this Mr. Stewart is the biological father? Is it not better not to trust than to trust and be betrayed again? Kalina is looking out for herself.
Is it your assertion that you knew all of the time there was a question, or you knew for certain Mr. Watson wasn't?
I didn't know for sure, but when I sat there and started calculating back the time of when I was messing with Mr. Stewart.
And James Stewart Jr.? He was just as skeptical. His father had been falsely accused before. Multiple women had come forward over the years, claiming their children were his, only to be proven wrong. This time, he was determined to end the nonsense once and for all. He had a timeline, he had facts, and in his mind, Angela's story didn't hold up. He remembered the exact year his father left the job where Angela claimed they had met, 1994. Yet, Kalina wasn't conceived until 1995. The math wasn't adding up.
Did you believe that you all shared a biological father?
No, Your Honor.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
Explain.
My father has had numerous of women say that their children was his, and this came to find out that it wasn't true. And just this right here.
What is this, sir?
Timeline.
Walk me through it.
Angela, of course, wasn't backing down. She insisted that James Sr. had still been around during that time, popping in for shifts and staying just long enough for their relationship to continue. But was she telling the truth? Or was this just another desperate attempt to clean up her mess?
Yes. You claimed in your testimony that you were working with Mr. Stewart's father at this place when Kalina was conceived. Am I correct?
Yes.
So your assertion, Mr. Stewart, is that that doesn't add up.
Doesn't add up to me. It really doesn't.
Because your father quit this job in 1994.
Yeah.
Then there was Lillian Jane Watson, the mother of the late Watson. She recounted how Angela had repeatedly manipulated the facts, using a letter as a tool to keep Kalina's true heritage hidden. In this letter, Angela claimed that a paternity test performed on Kalina and the late James Stewart had shown that Stewart was not her biological father. But the reality was that she had formulated the letter herself, and there was no paternity test.
Did you ever have doubts that your son was Kalina's father?
No.
Never. Explain.
Well, her mother left a letter saying that my son was the father. She had other 3 kids, so I told her she didn't have to worry about it.
The tension in the courtroom was thick, and the audience shifted in their seats. After all these years, a single paper could change everything. Kalina could either have a brother today or resent her mother more. The truth was about to come out.
There wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, James Stewart. We performed a sibling test in order to determine if the deceased son, James Stewart, is related to Kalina Bowman. It has been determined by this court that James Stewart and Kalina Bowman are related.
This case is going to blow your mind, and there is no doubt about that. Ms. Ramos appears in court to prove that her ex-fiancé is the father of their baby. The ex-fiancé, Mr. Edwards, on the other hand, says she changed her due dates just so she could make him the father.
Ms. Ramos, you are in court to prove that your ex-fiancé, Mr. Edwards, fathered your 1-month-old son, Xavier. You claim that after sharing your news, trying to convince him he's not the dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she just say she is not the only one? Yo, that's just crazy. What even surprises me the most is the fact that she said different women walk up to her and tell her that he is not the father of her child. I'm sure she doesn't trust him at all.
He started doing the cheating from the whole time. Me and him wasn't even actually in a relationship. Like, we were...
Wait a minute.
In the beginning, like...
You all are in a relationship.
And, you know, and I didn't know it was going to go on to this point.
So how serious...
Oh, that's when it really got serious.
So you all were in a serious relationship?
Yep.
Wow. Looks like Ms. Ramos was no saint after all. She claims that things were not serious between her and Mr. Edwards, which resulted in her sleeping with her ex. But in her story, things got very serious when she conceived her baby. There are so many loopholes in her story.
Point do you find out she cheated?
At the beginning, when she was at least like a month pregnant, that's when she had slept with a relative of mine.
I disagree. It's not even a blood relative. First of all, it was all through marriage.
Ms. Ramos cannot be serious right now. She just admitted to sleeping with one of his family members when she was just a month pregnant. Wow. In her defense, she says that she only slept with him because she knew they were not on good terms. Well, hello! That doesn't change the fact that he is a family member.
Now, The relative of mine is the person that story was that she was asleep and he was going in and out of her.
Ms. Ramos, so you were sleeping and someone had sex with you?
Actually, I've been broke up with that ex in June, a whole month before me and him even got reunited.
What on earth is wrong with this woman? First, she admits to sleeping with Mr. Edwards' cousin. Now she's telling the judge that she wasn't fully aware it was happening. I mean, can you have sex with someone and not be aware it's happening? Lady, just tell the truth.
Just too many times where she slept with people. Then the one time, she had texted my phone and said that she had another confession. She wanted me to meet her at the grocery store. As I'm approaching, she was, looking in the freezer and stuff, and she started to cry. She slept with a guy.
Just like Judge Lauren, I cannot hide my disgust right now. Aside from sleeping with her ex, she says that she slept with another man and caught 2 sexually transmitted diseases. All this happened with a baby in her womb. I mean, what was she thinking?
He asked me to marry him.
So after all this, Mr. Edwards, you agreed to marry Ms. Ramos? You asked her to marry you?
Yes, with the child, in play. And
so, Mr. Edwards, when you found out she was pregnant, did you believe you were the child's biological father?
No.
I mean, he kind of has every right to feel that way. There is no way on earth she is going to do all the things she did and expect that he would just overlook them and not doubt the paternity of her child. What's even surprising is that he asked her to marry her. I wonder why.
And Ms. Ramos, this upsets you?
Yes, it upsets me bad. It upsets me very bad.
Mr. Edwards, I'm looking at these pictures presented to the court. Sure. That doesn't look like a look of doubt. You look like a happy dad in those pictures. What are you thinking in that moment?
I'm siding with the judge on that one. Mr. Edward actually looks like a happy father in that picture. One would honestly think he had been waiting to have that baby for a really long time. But still, Ms. Ramos's actions would make any man doubt he is the father of the baby.
So he didn't sign the birth certificate, but you still gave Xavier his last name?
Because him and his father told me to give him his last name. They were both there.
I did tell her to give the child my last name.
If you still...
Mr. Edwards, you've asked this woman to marry you for the birth of this baby. You've taken the father photos.
Mm-hmm. Judge Lauren has a point there. Mr. Edwards did everything right. From the moment he found out she was pregnant till the moment the baby came into the world, he played the role of a father. But if he didn't trust her, why didn't he back out from the beginning?
How about you answer the question about how the baby was born a month and 2 weeks early?
Oh, I can't help it if he was born a month early.
Wait a minute now, Mr. Edwards. You say, in your mind, you're putting together a month early and already pregnant for a month. Is that where you get your doubt from?
This has got to be the most complicated situation I have ever seen in this courtroom. Even Mr. Edwards' witness says that she knew Ms. Ramos was sleeping about before she got into a relationship with Mr. Edward. Well, let's see if the results can bring an end to this disaster.
Mr. Edwards, you are the father.
Thank you. I want you to apologize to our son. I want you to apologize to him because I told you since day one.
This man has a mistress, but he wants to save his marriage and right his wrongs. Not sure that paternity court is the perfect scene for that, but let's see how that goes down. After dating her for months, Mr. Hartfield asked his mistress to have a baby for him since he has not been able to have any of his own.
What is the truth according to you?
The truth is, I believe that it's possible that she's thinking about someone else because she and I did meet, that is a fact, and we did talk, and I found her to be very attractive at the time. And I even, did things to convince her that, okay, maybe I will be a guy that she could take a chance with for us.
The way this man jumped into Ms. Streeter's statement is suspicious. He really did not let her finish, but went on to announce to Judge Lake that she's lying about everything she's saying. Now, what is she lying about, Mr. Hartfield?
I had went on Facebook and found the relative, then found Mrs. Hartfield's page, then that's when I seen pictures of them. I text her and let her know, your husband's been treating you for 8 months and I'm 5 months pregnant.
Oh my God.
So that's
Is that true, sir?
No, it is not.
I have a text message right here. He texted me last night. I have the proof right here.
Whoa, Mr. Hartfield. Looks like we were all unfamiliar. So he's still in her DMs asking for sex? And what's all this about stalking his relative? This man lied about him being married, or at least he hid the truth. She stalked him until she found his wife on social media, then shot her a text.
This is a text that says, "No, I'm horny. and then come over. And the next line says, I'm serious, I am horny as hell.
That is true. I did send those messages.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. Because of this game that she and I like to play, that she likes to play.
This entire thing is almost hilarious. Almost. The humor leaves the minute you realize that Mr. Hartfield is older than double her age. He texted her earlier this week about how horny he is. Well, Mr. Hartfield, perhaps you should go to meet your wife. What sort of silly, lying, dishonest man is this?
She found one that was an older guy, and she thought that I would be a cake daddy, or however you want to call it. The thing is that she found out, hey, you're dealing with a guy that ain't got no money, so now you waste your time.
Not true. Oh my goodness. It's so disheartening that this man could possibly be the father of this baby. Honestly, he's a clown, a joker, whatever. You name it. At this point, he's painting all the pictures possible to support all his baseless lies.
Your wife does not look happy. Your wife is sitting there having to listen to testimony about you sending text messages to a 22-year-old girl.
Really, look at his wife staring at him the moment he opened his mouth. It's hard to imagine that she would be feeling anything other than shame and regret right now from being married to this excuse of a husband. What a woman. She really has no expectations from this man, and she knows him so well.
When you look at this queen right here, my wife, I love her. God knows I do. During the time that Dominique and I met, I had my own place.
He was still living with me. I didn't know he had his own place.
Wait a minute, I don't need her support. I don't need your support. I don't need her support. Please sit her down.
Oh my goodness, this is getting embarrassing. Mr. Hartfield, maybe you should sit down instead. What does he mean calling his wife a queen, then telling her to sit down, adding that he does not understand why she's here? What an excuse for a husband, really.
You getting flustered.
I don't like it. That's why I stepped out and had intercourse.
Oh, now it's her fault.
Because I never got her support.
He had more girlfriends than he was talking to me. When I first met him, he had a lot of women he talked to.
Of course.
So not only was it me, it was other people.
Let the truth come out. That's exactly what I said.
Okay, this man puts the S in stupid. It's official. He came into court today saying that he wants to save his marriage and the results of the paternity test are important to him because he wants to redeem himself in front of his wife.
This is baby Caleb
That's right.
together.
I did that last week, actually.
Also,
something else.
Baby, sit down, please. You ain't got nothing to do with this.
I sure don't have anything to do with it.
I wish
Pick your lie.
Why are you here?
Mr. Hartfield, I'm going to let you pipe down just a little bit because your tone, I don't know what part of this you think you running.
Oh yes, Judge Lake. Mr. Hartfield is pissing everyone off in court. It's genuinely surprising that this man has these two women with him in court today. It's almost baffling if you ask me. This is the one time that two women are in paternity court over a man and they are not cursing each other.
You're classic. You really are.
Thank you.
If I pulled up the profile of cheater, con man, clown, and coward,
results,
your face would be next to it. Up here with your wife standing next to you. That's your wife.
She's my 7th wife, Your Honor.
Oh my goodness. Every single outburst from this man is irritating. This is his 7th wife? How long have you been manipulating women, Mr. Hartfield? My goodness. This needs to end. This case, I mean. Here are the results.
Mr. Hartfield, you are the father.
Okay. That's cool. That's okay.
Do you understand now what you just made a child with?
Right.
No, look at me. I don't know what he told you up until this point. I will say that con men like him, they can be very charismatic. You two are both very beautiful young women. You don't have to deal with this.
She had sex with his best friend and multiple men. At least this is what Mr. Gonzalez argues today in court. Ms. Salvo and Mr. Gonzalez were a match made in heaven. Or so they thought. But today, these two cannot seem to agree on a single thing.
Your Honor, I can't stand him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him.
In a paternity triangle, with both men believing they fathered your 2-month-old daughter, McKenna.
Yes, sir.
You are hoping today's DNA results prove that your husband is her father.
At least she's not denying making a mistake, and the beautiful part is that she wants to find a way out. Judge Lauren, understanding the intensity of the situation, proceeds to ask her husband what type of bond he had built with the child. As you would expect, he loved the baby beyond words could explain.
Mr. Bargy?
Yes.
You've fallen in love with McKenna.
Yes.
Tell me about the relationship you have with her.
I could be at work for 10 to 12 hours a day. I take 5 minutes out of my time, busy or not at work, video call, sit here like that right there,
I'll wake her up when I get home.
Aren't they just cute in that video? Anyway, Mr. Lawson, the ex-boyfriend, wasn't ready to give up his claim of being the father of the child, even after seeing Ms. Bargy's husband and the baby bond so well.
I believe I am because I was around. She was with me when she got pregnant. I was there for the whole pregnancy. I was there when McKenna was born.
Ms. Bargy, can you explain to the court how we got here?
I was having issues with my husband when I came back. We had been together for about a month, and we ended up having intimate time.
It seems like the break from her marriage took a wild turn, and now she's paying for the consequences. Now trust me, that's not all. When she found out she was pregnant, she told Mr. Lawson before her husband. Why? Because they were living together at the time. Jeez.
The day that I found out was the end of April. It was April the 27th. The whole month of April I was getting sick, and I took a pregnancy test, and then it came back that I was pregnant.
Even Judge Lauren was disappointed to hear that, but there was more disappointment coming her way. Ms. Bargy never mentioned the pregnancy to her husband. She claimed she didn't have the courage to confront him about it, but here's how he found out.
The time when you actually got up the courage to tell your husband that you were pregnant and McKenna could be his child.
I did not tell my husband, period. He had a mutual friend that was on my Facebook, and they had actually sent him a picture of me posting an ultrasound, and then he started contacting me, and then finally I had to sit down with him and talk to him and tell him.
Wow. So she was sleeping with Mr. Lawson and her husband at the same time? That explains why they both feel they could be possible fathers of the baby. But the truth, bombs keep getting worse. Ms. Bargy went on to tell the judge that she found out that her husband was also sleeping with his ex.
One time, and that was due to the fact that he had spoken to one of my friends, and they had talked about actually being together. My friend was one of his exes. His ex actually messaged me and was showing me messages that him and her were sleeping together when me and him.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Oh, I'm siding with Judge Lauren. That's one big mess. Unlike Ms. Bargy's husband, Mr. Lawson had no relationship with the child in question. He claimed that when he tried to be in the child's life several times, Ms. Bargy was evasive because she wanted her husband to be the father of the child.
Right now, I don't have a relationship because when Miss Bargy left, we have talked and tried to set up times for me to see her, but there is a lack of information.
You feel like she's being evasive.
Your Honor, I have given him plenty opportunities to see her. I've called him 3 and 4 days in advance and said, look.
Could Mr. Lawson be lying about trying to see her child? Who knows? Ms. Bargy made one thing clear to the judge. She claimed that if Mr. Lawson ended up being the father, she wouldn't want him anywhere near her child.
If Mr. Lawson is McKenna's biological father, have you thought about where you go from here?
If Mr. Lawson is her father, I do not want him to be a part of her life, period. Like, I want rights terminated because my daughter deserves so much better. My husband has been there and took care of her.
She must really dislike Mr. Lawson. Well, it's time we reveal the DNA results and bring their paternity drama to an end. Let's see if Ms. Bargy's prayers are going to be answered.
In the case of Bargy versus Lawson, pertaining to whether Mr. Bargy or Mr. Lawson is the father of 2-month-old McKenna Bargy, it has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Lawson.
This woman is involved with at least 4 different men. Mrs. Shaw, her daughter Kiona, and LeBron Matthews are in court for completely different things. Mrs. Shaw because she hopes Mr. Matthews is not Kiona's father. Kiona is here because she hopes Mr. Matthews is her father. Mr. Matthew is here because, oh well, he just got a new suit.
I tried to get a DNA test. And when we went before the magistrate, he looked at me and told him that he never slept with me.
Yes, it was true because
you told the magistrate you had never had a sexual relationship with Ms. Shaw.
I would say that I was a womanizer and went in there and lied.
Okay.
Whoa, wait a minute. In these court cases, we hear situations about baby mamas and exes being in court together. But this time, it's way different. The relationship between these two people that brought about Kiona seems so much wilder than anything I thought.
Amen.
So, when he told this lie, what happened?
I looked at him, I turned around and I looked at his wife. And...
Did somebody say wife?
Yeah, they both were married.
So you, and you had a husband?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so you came to court with your wife?
Correct.
No wonder you said you never had sex with this woman. Okay.
What a wild turn of events. It absolutely sounds like a plot from a TV show. What an interesting story. How are both parties doing the same thing to their partners, cheating on them with one another? Then, why did Ms. Shaw act so surprised to see that he has a wife?
And the way I looked at it is we both was having fun. We both was young, you know, and when she told me she was pregnant, I was too busy trying to enjoy myself because I wasn't trying to be with no one woman. I already had a wife.
So the point is, when you stood in the courtroom with your wife and you said you never slept with Miss Shaw and you knew you weren't telling the truth, was that because you were scared to lose your wife, or is that because you did not want to be bothered with a child?
A little bit of both.
Now, all of that suddenly adds up. With so many men in her life growing up, Kiona must have felt like she never had a father regardless. Imagine being around so many father figures and their respective children and still feeling unseen. This one thing would have constantly gotten her sad and needy of fatherly love.
What do you remember?
I remember it being really uncomfortable, honestly. I felt like I was the stepchild. Like, you know, the way that he was with his other kids, he wasn't like that with me. So I wanted him to feel the way he felt about his other kids about me.
I did, but I wasn't really there either. You know, if I wasn't at work, I was ripping and running.
Well, whoops. Speaking of the men in Kiona's life growing up, her mother, Mrs. Shaw, did not hold back. She kept them coming, from her ex-husband to her present husband and all the men in between. This woman may or may not have deprived herself of some things in life, but men were not on the list.
He was not the only man that I had slept with.
Were you honest about that to Miss Thompson, your daughter?
Yes, she's known all her life.
So why did you open the case against Mr. Matthews if you always knew that there was another possibility?
Oh my goodness. It does seem like these two go way back in time. From everything that happened during their relationship, it's no brainer they even have a baby in the first place, really. The energy in court today is quite light too, compared to the usual hostility from both parties.
Because when she first told me that I was the dad, I didn't want to believe it because I was doing my own things. But every time I turned around, I was bringing you fish sandwiches when you was pregnant. Every time you turned around, you was like, babe, I'm hungry. And at the time, you had a husband, and here it is. Wait a minute, okay, but you had threw him out.
Yeah.
But then when I came over there, you had me rubbing your stomach and all that good stuff.
I had rubbing my stomach.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And here it is, talking about bring me a fish sandwich over to the house.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I've had it up to here with these two. Isn't that interesting? I absolutely did not see this coming. How exactly did a married man and a married woman have a baby for one another from an external party? Oh boy.
So you remember that. But wait, I want to understand this. So you're pregnant, but your husband's somewhere else.
Right. Because see, that's how that came
your
about.
lover's coming over to feed you some fish sandwiches.
Because my husband was still in and out at the same time when I got pregnant. But that 6 months, I had threw him out of the house.
Oh boy, what a turn of events. She was not just cheating on her husband with one man, but 5 different men. Now that Kiona was born, it appears that Mr. Matthews lost his sweet spirit? Come on. Several scenarios point to him not doing up to the bare minimum.
The last time you saw Mr. Matthews?
I was a junior in high school, so it's been about 14 years.
Oh my goodness. So, Mr. Matthews, your testimony is true. You've been a pretty bad dad.
Yeah, I was a terrible father.
And that's why you're here, to right your wrongs.
Right, that's correct.
Well, well, well. There's just too much drama unraveled at court with this case. The whole court is bleeding with drama right now. From Kiona's end to Mr. Matthews and his new suit, then back to Ms. Shaw and all her men.
My grandmother, went over there and seen the baby because Ms. Shaw was living at the time. Rumors fly around. First, my grandmother told my mother, then my mother told me, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna sit back there and say yes.
What did they say?
She said, well, the baby look like you. I said, no, it don't. I'm not gonna sit back because I didn't want my wife to know. Well, my mother told my wife.
Oh my goodness. What a circus that really must have been. After the bickering from all sides of court, we finally have all we're here for. The stories from the past are enough and the results are in. Who is the father of this young woman with so many childhood scars?
Mr. Brooks is not her father. What are you feeling in this moment, Miss Shaw?
That's what she need. If he the father, he not gonna be there.
Mr. Matthews, you are not the father. I'm so sorry, Kiona.
Wow.
Neither gentleman is her biological father.
She'll always be mine no matter what.
In this situation, Mr. Walls claimed to have been away for a while, and when he got back, he saw the defendant, Ms. Walker, having some funny business with another man. He claimed that she was a serial cheater, and he was certain he was not the father of the child. This was how he opened his case.
Mr. Walls, you say that after spending a short time away from Ms. Walker, you caught her with someone else's hands in her cookie jar.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you say Ms. Walker is a serial cheater and there is no way you are her child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
It looks like the long wait to get her number was worth it after all. In no time, things got very romantic between them. They started spending time together and going on dates.
I'm from Detroit. I love Belle Isle.
Oh, yeah, that's the spot
All right.
there. So we started going out there, you know, spending time by the water. I felt it was romantic, you know. And so,
Ms. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor.
He seemed like he was a gentleman courting you. You went out with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
It was a good relationship at first?
It was good in the beginning until I found out I was pregnant. And when I found out I was pregnant, I told him, but he talked about he wanted a DNA test.
I knew we were about to get to the bad part, but was he really a family member, Ms. Walker? Well, we are going to find out. The funny thing about this couple was that even though they had a very lovely time together, they never got into an actual relationship.
Did this turn into a real relationship is the point? Okay, that took too long. So it was not a relationship. So you all were having sex.
Yeah.
Without protection,
Pretty much.
but not in a relationship. So when she told you she was pregnant and it was your child, you had doubt.
Yeah.
Your Honor, when I told her I was pregnant, and he had said, well, I need to take a DNA test because he said he didn't trust me.
But she admitted to cheating, though.
Did she just admit to cheating? Wow. If I were in his shoes, I would probably have doubts about the baby as well. As if that was not enough, Mr. Walls went on to talk about a situation where he actually caught Ms. Walker in another man's car. This was how he began the story.
My house on Ohio. Coming down Finkel, I turn on her block. I look at the car in the driveway like, what the what? So I said, wait a minute. I goes all the way back around the corner, come back, slow down. I look like, no, that don't look like Dominique in that car. Like, that ain't Miss Walker. Like, no. So I said, forget it. I drive on around again. I'm on around
You on your third lap?
Yeah, I'm on my third lap now. I'm doing a Hollywood stop now like, yeah, that's her.
Aha. You've been caught, Ms. Walker. If indeed she was pregnant and the baby belonged to Mr. Wills, she had no right to do anything with another guy. Moving on, Mr. Wills was not done listening to the scenarios he witnessed, which made him doubt the baby.
I call her phone. She'll say she at home. I go to her house, knock on the door. Her mama come downstairs and say, Dominique not here. Dominique went over her god sister's house. I just talked to Dominique. She said she was home. This happens a couple of times.
No,
my
you
gosh,
aren't.
I wish your mama was here.
Because we're gonna start from the time he said he was living with his baby mama.
Oh, that explains why they couldn't get into a proper relationship. They can't even make a complete sentence without yelling at each other. Again, Mr. Wills went on to explain that with his other 5 kids, he had pregnancy symptoms, but with Ms. Walker's child, he never felt any such symptoms.
Looking up a little bit, I'm feeling a little nauseous. And with her pregnancy, I had none of that.
How many other kids do you have?
I got 5 other kids.
Okay. You had pregnancy symptoms with all 5?
Yeah, pretty much.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow. It looks like he wasn't lying after all. The funny feeling is actually a real thing. Could that mean the baby does not belong to him? Well, the DNA results are about to reveal just that, and we will know if Ms. Walker has been lying all this while.
Mr. Wall, you are not her father. Ms. Walker, I gave you an opportunity, at least 5.
Well, I apologize. I'm sorry.
3 years. 3 years. Do you know who her father is?
Yeah.
Was it the guy in the car?
No.
Why not just be honest?
Because I was scared.
See, I'll take honesty any day. We all make mistakes.
The biggest mysteries on paternity court.
You can't say for certain you did not sleep with Ms. Lons during the window of conception.
No,
you don't know.
I can't say that. I really can't say that.
Are not the father.
Oh my God.
I hope you fine. Because everybody should know who their people are. My dad wasn't there for me either.
The sudden baby's arrival left Mr. Lamb in utter disbelief because his wife's sexual desires were on a leash, which led her to step out of the marriage. And we all know when such actions hit, there's no solution but a DNA test.
Mr. Lamb, You say your ex-wife was a serial cheater with an insatiable sexual appetite. You maintain she took advantage of your trust and routinely cheated on you in your own home, and there is no way you are baby Preston's father.
Yes, Your Honor. While the mystery was lurking on, the plaintiff came forward and said that despite her bad marriage life, she was faithful to her better half. And the sexual encounter the hubby was hung on was proposed by him. Then why the fuss?
She's told me out of her own mouth that I'm not the father. And
Really?
I've heard from other people that they say that he don't look like
That is a lie.
After he was born, she told me she believes it was Jonathan's after the incident we had.
When he popped out, I made you apologize because he looked just like you. Do you not remember that?
No.
What's the point of creating doubt in your husband's mind right after the baby's birth? And he mentioned Jonathan's name. So what's the story behind that man and their marriage? Next, the judge asked them about the haunting incident, and the plaintiff explained Mr. Lamb's weird fantasies with Dear Jonathan.
He had told me about, the fantasy he had. I didn't feel comfortable with it, but I finally agreed. He took my phone and texted Jonathan and was acting like me and said something about us having a threesome. And Jonathan was like, I'm down.
I'm down?
Yeah.
You down, Jerome?
No. So this was a good lesson of fantasy and turned it into a nightmare. I mean, who would be messed up enough to even think of such things? And now, instead of admitting his mistake, the defendant denied it and put all the blame on her.
He opened the door and came in on us.
Wrong.
And he asked us if we want to have a threesome. She agreed to it.
Wrong. His mattress was in our bedroom floor.
Why did his mattress have to be in your bedroom?
The kids was in a room, and we put his mattress in our floor.
What about the living room?
What kind of a circus did they have going on in their house? Who in their right state of mind entertains guests like that? So, the judge asked him more about her flirtatious relationship with Jonathan, and he shared their sweet moment on his bed.
She agreed after she couldn't finish to try it again, him and her.
No.
She said since she didn't get to finish that time that she wanted to try it again and see if it would be any better.
This is just a disgusting case. So the truth is there was more than one time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Absolutely not.
I believe he's lying at this point. His friend and wife were never comfortable. Then how can she say this? Their accusations are swinging freely in the middle with no hook to rely on. Next, the plaintiff said that all three of them were confused about pregnancy. Then Mr. Lamb shared the reason for his denial.
I do know she has over and over told me that he is the father and that he looks like him.
That he looks like the other guy?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
She's told you this?
Yes.
I mean, I told him there were similarities. If we get to thinking about it, yes, but there's a lot of similarities between him and Jonathan as well.
Not all desires have to be taken seriously. And look how it made you fall into trouble that now you are standing in the court to figure out the real daddy of the baby. But regardless of their mistakes, the results were read to end this confusion.
Mr. Lamb, you are the father.
Living her own life without parents was hard enough for this 35-year-old Mount Olive woman. However, the sudden appearance of some random guy claiming to be her father has turned her life upside down. Done with all the false claims, Miss Agee was ready to prove him wrong today.
Over the last 30 years, you have searched to find your biological daughter, who you claim was taken from you as a child. When you found Miss Agee, whom you believe to be your daughter, on Facebook.
That is correct.
Ms. Agee, you come to court today to prove once and for all to Mr. Fritz that he is not your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant already had a biological father, a man named Mr. Buster, who had abandoned her while she was just a child and never looked back. Though she kept contacting him, he remained cold towards Miss Agee. That's why the woman was not ready to ride the same roller coaster again.
You say you're my dad, but if you're my dad, then you would have come looking for me. I live in Thomasville, a little town that you can find me. You found me when I was already married under my married name. You didn't find me under my maiden name. My maiden name, you couldn't find me. I live in a small town. I can go in the middle of the town and scream out Danny and Fritz, and they're gonna hear me. You didn't come looking for me, because if you did, you would have found me.
And if you're wondering why the plaintiff never reached out to his long-lost daughter, it was revealed that he was incarcerated for a long time and was away from his town, but still visited Miss Agee when she was 2 years old. One day, her family ghosted him without a reason, and he began his desperate search for his daughter.
And I thought you was an old school friend because I didn't even know you were my dad.
Right.
I didn't recognize the name. I'm 35 years old, and you're telling me you're my dad? And I don't know how you got
and
my
from this
phone
point
number,
on,
but
I'm
you
going to do
called
anything at all that
And
you
I
want me to do to help you in your life and your children's life.
You say that, but
I think I've been showing you that, Angel.
no, you haven't.
Oh, why would you do that to him? Shutting him off her life was wrong. Then, Mr. Fritz said that he found Miss A.G. through Facebook and texted her to build their bond again. But to the defendant's surprise, it was a complete shock, and she didn't like it at all.
You contacted me on Facebook. We were talking.
Right.
I thought you was an old school friend because I didn't even know you were my dad.
Right.
But I didn't recognize the name. And then I was shocked. I didn't know what to think because here you are. I'm 35 years old, and you're telling me you're my dad?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. What am I supposed to think?
She doesn't count his efforts as worthy. I know it must be hard to bond with this man, but still, she's numb to all his excuses. Regarding the daddy-daughter relationship, Mr. Fritz said that it started pretty well, but the defendant still had coldness towards him, which let him down. Upon this, the defendant attacked him again.
You do not believe he's your biological father?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm angry because he says he is my dad. If he is my dad, why wasn't you there? I needed a dad when I was younger. I'm 35 years old now. I've lived my life. I'm living my kid, I'm with my kids now. I'm living my life for my kids. And then he wants to pop up 35 years later and say he's my dad?
We know that she's hurt, and why not? For years you're missing from her life, and now you want to be a good father? It's not easy, man. Next, after seeing her constant denial, the judge finally gave her a moment to express her real emotions behind the anger, and she revealed her fears.
I'm here to help you. I'm here to be your daddy.
But you're putting out there that I asked you for money. I didn't ask you for no money. I told you what was going on.
Your father, or a man that believed he's your father for the money, he heard you had a need. His point was just to say, I'm there. I was trying to give of myself.
The hurt and resentment in the plaintiff's eyes were so much that she kept repeating denial and anger towards him. But now with this situation in the court, it was clear that they wanted the results so badly to end the confusion and have peace in their lives.
You are her father.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about. I love you so much, baby. I'm so sorry. You can't be that mean and not be my youngin'.
Mr. Figures played his A game with Miss Jackson's heart, and now it's payback time. Ghosting her with a baby, and now the plaintiff hit him back in his face to prove to him that he fathered her son. The terms of the past have to get resolved today, and to win this game against him, she demanded a DNA test.
You say Mr. Figures was a smooth-talking Casanova who swept you off your feet and out of your clothes and then left you with a baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit to being a former ladies' man, but you say there's no way you fathered Miss Jackson's child. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Job Corps was an adventure ride for them, and Miss Jackson recalled the innocent attraction she had for Mr. Figures and their cheesy relationship in their youth. Wild thoughts of love and a hook of intimacy were an overwhelming desire that took them to the peak of madness.
At that time, when you're younger, sometimes people change their names. And I had another friend also. His name was
Mustafa.
She got a good memory. She calls my name twice. Third time, she called his name.
Oh!
Now, I admit I didn't stop because we was in the middle of handling
A very amusing story. It must have been a lot of fun to do this back then. And I'm glad he knew about the other possibility right from the start. Next, the plaintiff said that pregnancy was a complete shock for her, and Mr. Figures taunted that it was the Mufasa guy. But she explained herself on this matter.
Dealing with someone, meaning he had my back. Don't meaning we having sex. But the person that he's talking about, he even went to him and told him, she's carrying my baby.
So I went to the guy and told him that?
That's what she testified.
No, I didn't go to him and tell him that.
There was doubt all along, but he never addressed it. And now he says he's not a runner? It doesn't add up. Mr. Majestic, that's cowardly. Next, the judge asked Mr. Jackson about his fatherless life experience, and the poor boy showed great courage in answering her.
She always told me don't run from your problems, so I don't run from my problem. I stick with her through thick and thin.
I have other children, and they dad come into their life. They come in, they take them places, they go here, they go there, you know what I'm saying? And it's always been me and him. He don't have nobody. I'm all he has, and he is all I have.
He is crushed with pain. And yes, he needs to have a father figure in his life, even if it's too late. The young man's tears and pain still did not affect Mr. Figures, and Mr. Jackson further shared that his father is meaningless to him now.
My closest friend, his dad died, but he seen his dad. My other friends, they all know their daddy. They all have needs.
You have a right to have that relationship.
I don't want that right.
I know.
My mind's already set. I'm done.
I know.
This moment must have been hard for the poor boy, and his hate is valid for him. Everyone would have the same feeling about a ghosted father. But listening to this, his mother broke down and expressed her frustration over Mr. Figures and wanted things to improve for their son's future.
I have dreams of him coming to my house, or we, you know what I'm saying, like we meeting up or having a connection the way I never had my father. This hurt. He's gonna put that mask on, but I want him to be able to take that mask off and be able to be on Facebook like, what's up, Dad? Or post pictures.
The mother-son had led a hard life, but today's paternity question was very important for Mr. Jackson and his future, so he could have a full family by his side. And the only way to find Mr. Figures' paternity is by reading the DNA results.
You are not the father.
Oh my God.
I hope you find that, because everybody should know who their people are. My dad wasn't there for me either. So I'm sorry for you, man. I really hope you do find out who your father is.
The hunt for the real father is still on, as Miss Lons returned to court to find her daughter's biological father. Previously failed and devastated in their last attempt, now with a new hope, they've come back to get their answer whether Mr. Randolph was the real blood of Miss Noel or not. Let's see what the case brings this time.
You claim that while filming your popular reality TV show, a DNA test determined that the man you believe was your daughter Elite's father was not. That it was devastating to find out that the man you believed was your dad was not, and you now believe that his brother is your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
In her own words, Miss Lons stated that her past reality TV life has damaged her a lot, and now she was clean and sober from all the mistakes of her youth and was desperate to find the truth today for her daughter. Then, Miss Noel spoke about her experience as a fatherless child.
I closed up with my mom. I also closed up with Vic, which is the guy that originally we, tested. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a bitter thing for me. I used to hide the story, you know what I mean? I didn't want to judge my mom, but I didn't want to be judged for it. I just didn't tell anybody that I didn't know who my biological father was.
Mr. Randolph shared that a confession of paternity by Miss Lons on the reality show brought trouble to him when multiple people told him that he was the father of Miss Noel. The suspicion was unsettling, and he only faced court to find answers. Then, Miss Noel shared a little about her childhood life.
From the time I was adopted up until 11, you couldn't tell me that wasn't my family. After that, I lashed out throughout my teenage years.
I gave custody to was my family first. They took care of me before you were born. So it's the choices and decisions that I made is the reason why the woman that you are today.
A lot is going on in this case. Two different fathers who are brothers. It's very complicated. Then Miss Noel shared that her adopted mother took her to the man David Noel, who was on her birth certificate, and he coldly pushed her away. Then, the judge asked the defendant about his relationship with Miss Lons.
Her and my brother and their friend and I were involved in a relationship. We did what we did. Had I known that it was even suspected that I was the father of any child, I've always stepped up to the plate. I know she was pregnant just about every time she was pregnant. That's my brother's girlfriend.
So the groupies were involved with each other so badly, then sure, babies would pop out. And sadly, no one would own them in the end. Crazy how people make mistakes and never think of the consequences. And now, look how they're standing here doubting paternity. Then, the judge brought one member of their band, Mr. Robertson, to testify in the case.
It was just a group thing, you know. I never fell in love with none of them. It's just.
So you never were in a girlfriend-boyfriend committed relationship?
Never a relationship.
You can't say for certain you did not sleep with Ms. Lons during the window of conception.
No,
you don't know.
I can't say that. I really can't say that.
His testimony has added more puzzles now. So everyone is freely sleeping around in the band, but none came up with responsibility, and now stood here confused about paternity. Next, Miss Noel said she never heard of Mr. Robertson before. Then, Mr. Randolph further explained his uncertainty.
Darling, I wish nothing but the best for you. You look so much like Nefertiti and my children till, yes, we really did think Vic was your father, especially because of Frankie and his relationship. No way under God's green earth did I ever think that she was my child.
The actions of these groupie people might have brought them a lot of fame and satisfaction, but they surely damaged Miss Noel's life completely. Now, after all the testimonies, there was only one way to end this unanswered question of paternity, and only DNA could tell the truth.
Mr. Randolph, you are not her father.